Start YouTube, start audio, start streaming the bottom right.
No, just streaming.
The concessions and merchandise options available at Crutchfield Park.
I'm very upset.
I don't know about you, but Tom Sox baseball always makes me
This is a
hungry.
Navy on Navy.
If it's
A very pleasant Independence Day and good afternoon and welcome to Crutchfield Park here at Charlottesville High School. I'm Luke Ned Carney alongside Dylan Costain, and today we have the only game in the Valley Baseball League, the annual July 4th clash between the Waynesboro Generals and the Charlottesville Tom Sox. And Dylan, these two teams tangled a couple times earlier this week. Back on Thursday in Waynesboro, it was an offensive explosion, really for both teams in a 14-9 Waynesboro win. Back here on Friday, it was a 4-3 game.
Yeah, big difference there. I was actually in Waynesboro for that game, and basically the difference maker there, as you can tell in a high-scoring game, was pitching, right? The Tom Sox got off to a pretty poor start, giving up 5 runs in the first inning. Obviously, when we came back to Crutchfield, 4-3 game, a lot closer. It'll be interesting to see which side of the lineup shows out today here on Independence Day.
And speaking of that, it was a 4-3 game, like we said on Friday, but on Saturday, the Tom Sox traveled up to Purcellville for a doubleheader and got the sweep, and it was 2 different games, too. The Tom Sox only putting up 3 runs in the first game, still enough to get them a win. 12 runs in the second game, more than enough.
Yeah, one thing we've noticed from this Tom Sox lineup is they can have these, every once in a while, complete explosions of games, scoring 12 runs last night, the most that they scored all season long. So a great way for them to come into this tough matchup against a team that they've struggled against recently and come in and get a good win on a tough game heading into the All-Star break.
Meeting at home plate now going on between the umpires and head coach for Waynesboro, Zach Cole, and head coach for the Tom Sox, Corey Kohler, as that breaks up now. And good crowd filing in today. Wants to remind you that free admission, courtesy of Carter Bank and Trust for this game and all the rest of them here at Crutchfield Park. We'd like to thank the fine folks at Carter Bank and Trust for sponsoring them. You can see their banner out on the left center field wall. So if you're in Charlottesville and want to come out and see some baseball, you still got some time, as this will be a single 9-inning game. They played a lot of weekend doubleheaders, including last night in Purcellville. As we get ready now for, appropriately, the national anthem here on Independence Day. And Dylan, the Tom Sox have yet to win on this date.
Yes, that is one streak that they have not broken. Going against Waynesboro last time, they had lost their last 6 matchups, and then, like you said before, the 4-3 win was their first time in 7 games, so broke that streak last week. Hopefully this week they can break the Independence Day losing streak.
We're going to go ahead and pause for the national anthem. We'll be right back. This is Tom Sox Baseball. Back here at Crutchfield Park, National Anthem complete here on this Independence Day, and we're glad to be bringing this one to you as we are the only game in town here in the Valley League this afternoon. Special 5 o'clock start time, as there'll be fireworks in town after this as the Tom Sox take the field, and they will be facing a Waynesboro lineup that looks like this. Aiden Huggins leads things off for the Generals. He'll be at second base. Sean Ross, the shortstop, is batting second, and Jackson Ross, no relation, by the way, is in left field today. He bats third. Cleanup man Zach Levinson slides over to right field, and Alejandro Figueiredo assumes his spot at third base and fifth in the batting order. Connor Cena, the designated hitter from Friday's game, who hit a home run, will line up behind the plate tonight and bat sixth, followed by Max Weller, who moves from leadoff to seventh in the lineup and is in center field. Johnny Rezick is the designated hitter, and rounding out the batting order is Alex Arauz, who is at third base, as they face a relatively new arrival to this Tom Sox team on the mound, Christian Worley.
Yeah, Christian Worley's had a pretty good season so far for the Sox, only a 1.2 ERA. His last outing was on the 29th against Harrisonburg here at Crutchfield Park. 3 innings pitched, 4 strikeouts, and just 1 earned run. What I've seen of him so far, really good guy, good high strikeouts or mid to high strikeouts, and has some good stuff on him, so excited to see him face this hot Waynesboro lineup here today.
And this is how his defense is going to line up. Cam Guidry is at third base out of the University of Georgia. His SEC left side of the infield mate, Cole Foster out of Auburn, is at short. Eddie Izard, another relatively new arrival fresh off a College World Series appearance with NC State, is at second base, and Wyatt Langford assumes the position at first this afternoon. Left field, Logan Amos. Center field, Trevor Candelaria. And right field, Garrett Spikes, who had a monster home run in Purcellville last night. And Garrett Gable behind the plate in an all-Virginia Tech battery for the Tom Sox today.
Yeah, as we mentioned, one thing about the Valley Baseball League, you have so many guys coming in and out, and one thing I've noticed from this lineup so far is they've done a pretty good job of just meshing. They've done a great job meshing with each other, and, as guys come and go, still found a way to keep playing well and keep playing up to the Tom Sox level of baseball that we've known.
So digging in to lead off this game is Aiden Huggins. He is out of Tom Sox. 1, 2, 3. Good morning, good afternoon, good night.
And I'm sure for these Tom Sox players, they know that the Tom Sox are 0-4 on Independence Day, so they're looking to get off to a hot start today, and a leadoff strikeout, 1, 2, 3, see you later, is a great way to start the afternoon.
Now it'll be Sean Ross, who made some great plays in the field here on Friday night. He is the shortstop, and he is, by all accounts, the captain of that defense as he looks at a strike. Matthew Pierman calling the balls and strikes here this afternoon. He's a Charlottesville native, so he didn't have too far to travel on this Independence Day. The 0-1 from Worley, that one stays upstairs for a ball.
And as you mentioned, the strong defense of Sean Ross, also not a bad hitter, batting .333 on the year, only 21 at-bats, but still a strong start so far, looking to keep that going.
Here's the 1-1, and that one swing and a miss on a fastball, 1-2. And he is also not from the continental United States. He's a native of Fajada, Puerto Rico, but he plays at Faulkner College, Faulkner University, which is a private Christian school in Alabama. And he's down 1-2 to the Virginia Tech Hokie, Christian Worley. And now Worley has a second strikeout as that one dips in the dirt. Garrett Gable blocks it and applies the tag on a swing and a miss. And 2 batters, 2 strikeouts for Christian Worley.
Yeah, as I noted earlier, I've seen some of his stuff, and he has good stuff, and he has brought it out today so far. 2 swinging strikeouts. The first one, 0-3, 3 straight pitches. This one, 1 ball, but still great, efficient work so far out of the mound by Christian Worley.
Now here comes Jackson Ross, who is from the continental United States, Lakeland, Florida. He plays collegiately at Florida Atlantic in Boca Raton, and he looks at a ball inside.
I cannot imagine playing summer league baseball in Lakeland, Florida at this time. I cannot imagine that.
The 1-0 is fouled back, and I actually have a colleague who is working for a summer league team down in Florida, so he's originally from New York, so he's not used to that heat and humidity. So I know he's having a great time. My buddy Matthias Weilman has that pitch fouled back, and it's 1-1.
It looks like that one may have gotten Garrett Gable a little bit behind the dish, taking off his mask for a minute and stretching, but seems to be okay, staying in the game.
And that's to be expected if you're a catcher. That's why they put that equipment on as the 1-1 comes in. That's a slider that misses the zone upstairs, and finally a Waynesboro hitter is ahead in the count. The 2-1. That one upstairs again, and now a hitter's count for the 3-hole hitter, Jackson Ross. Worley kicks, fires, and that one misses inside. So a 2-out base runner. Nobody for Waynesboro has put the ball in play yet, but they've got a guy on first base with the cleanup man coming up.
Yeah, great job to fight there from Jackson Ross. You know, so far, Worley's done a great job getting these hitters out. So great job to fight off there and get the first general base runner of the game.
So with a runner on now, Waynesboro keeps the inning going as Zach Levinson, who's in right field, fouls the first pitch out of play. Levinson, a native of Oviedo, Florida. Umpires know what they're doing today. They're wearing that light blue rather than the dark shirts.
Yeah, I'm kind of frustrated. It was supposed to be like a mid-80s day, but it is not that so far.
Definitely a little warmer than we expected as that one is in the air, short right field. It's going to be a tough play, and coming on, trying to make a sliding catch and unable to do so as it hits off his wrist as Garrett spikes. He had a beat on it, but it was hit in such an awkward spot that the second baseman, Isard, and Spikes couldn't quite get to it, and that's going to be a single, and first to third goes Jackson Ross.
Yeah, good hustle there from Garrett Spikes. That's just a tough play. Great way to just drop the ball in there from Levinson, putting it right where the fielders couldn't get to, and good hustle by Spikes, but just unable to make the impressive sliding catch.
So Alejandro Figueiredo, the first baseman, digs in. Another guy from Florida. He plays at FGCU. Had an RBI in Friday's game as he takes the first pitch for a strike.
Yeah, he also had a great game when the Sox were playing in Waynesboro the other day. I can't remember specific stats, but you know the big right-hander here can definitely bring some power here to Crutchfield tonight. And
the Tom Sox in the first inning on Friday got all three of their runs with 2 away. So Waynesboro with a chance to flip the script here early. Crowd still filing in here on this Independence Day, as that one is a swing and a miss, and he went fishing for that one. Good pitch by Worley.
Yeah, great job on the slider out there to get him swinging. Now he got him 2 strikes. The crowd here's getting a little bit louder, hoping to get out of the jam early on in the first.
First and third, 2 away. No score here early as that one misses downstairs. Good job by Figueiredo there, because that one looked like it was coming right down the middle, and it had some late movement, and he was able to lay off with 2 strikes.
Yeah, great 2-strike approach there for Figueiredo. Let's see what Worley goes with here.
The 1-2, and that one just misses upstairs.
Much to the chagrin of some of the people in the press box here, that looked like a good pitch, but just outside for Worley. Hopefully he can fight back on this 2-2 count with 2 gone.
We'll see if he goes back to that slider, as that was a 4-seam fastball. With first and third, 2 away, and that one is on the ground to short. Grabbed by Foster. He's going to have plenty of time to wing it over to Langford at first. And the inning is over as Waynesboro gets a hit, but doesn't do anything with it. They leave 2 on base, and it's 0-0 going to the bottom of the first. You're listening to Tom Sox Baseball. Welcome back to Crutchfield Park. Luke Knight, Carney, Dylan Costain here with you on this Independence Day. The Tom Sox allow a couple Waynesboro base runners, but get a good defensive play from Cole Foster to hold Waynesboro off the scoreboard here in the first inning, and they will get their first at-bats with a batting order that looks like this. The catcher, Garrett Gable, out of Virginia Tech, leads things off. Logan Amos, the left fielder from VCU, bats second, and Wyatt Langford, the Florida Gator, at first base, will be the third due up this inning. Trevor Candelaria bats cleanup. He's in center field. Garrett Spikes is in right field, and he bats fifth. Cal Stark is the designated hitter, batting sixth. He actually got some time on the mound last night in Purcellville. Cole Foster, the shortstop who you saw make that play to end the inning, bats seventh. Eddie Eisert, the second baseman, is eighth. And Cam Guidry rounds out the batting order for the Tom Sox. And Guidry, one of the better hitters on this team, so the Tom Sox kind of going with a little unconventional, putting a better hitter at the bottom of the lineup.
Yeah, but what that does is it's a great way to just flip your lineup over. You know, a lot of teams, you'll put your worst hitter at the bottom, so then you're kind of, you know, if you get to that situation with 1-2 outs, you're kind of hurting yourself there. But now with Guidry at the bottom of this lineup, you get to the bottom 8-9, you're able to, you know that your guy is going to be successful, and you restart that lineup to your best hitters effectively.
Waynesboro defense, third base, Alex Arauz. Shortstop, Sean Ross. Aiden Huggins is at second, and Figueredo is at first. Jackson Ross, Max Weller, and Zach Levinson in the outfield, left to right. And Connor Cena behind the plate, catching for Logan Clayton, who played at North Florida but is about to go to the University of Houston, where Corey Kohler once played.
Yeah, as you said, Logan Clayton done pretty well so far in the Valley Baseball League. 2.4 ERA, 15 innings pitched, and as you said, at University of North Florida, 17 innings. So let's see what he can do against this red-hot Tom Sox lineup.
Here's Garrett Gable. Not every day you see a catcher leading things off, but he's been pretty consistent in that number one spot most of the season as he takes the first pitch high.
Yeah, we're seeing overall in baseball a trend towards having your best hitter at the top, whether their position, you know, it used to be the speed guy at the top, but Garrett Gable, you got to ride the hot bat, and he's doing pretty well so far here in Charlottesville.
A 1-0. That one is over the outside half for a strike. Tom Sox in the navy blue sleeveless jerseys with the lime green sleeves, numerals, and socks. White team name across the jerseys. Here's the 1-1 as Clayton actually goes from the stretch, even with nobody on base. And that one misses down and away. As more fans continue to file in, we expect we'll see that as these early innings go along. Waynesboro in navy as well, same uniforms they wore on Friday. The 2-1 is fouled straight back 2-2. That the red and white stripe down the torso.
Yeah, I saw these jerseys when we were in Waynesboro, and I'm a big fan of them. You did mention that they had some red camo that they might be showing here off for the 4th of July, but apparently not. But also, big fan of these. Like you said, the side stripe looks pretty clean here.
2-2 to Ebel. Waynesboro with gray pants, by the way. Charlottesville with white, as that one stays outside.
Great take there by Ebel with a nice slider on the outside part of the plate, but able to lay off and bring the count full here.
And not a bad frame job by the catcher there, Cena. We will see Cena bat next inning for the Generals. But now the count full to the Tom Sox leadoff hitter. Clayton kicks, fires, and that one is called a third strike over the inside corner. That was a great-looking pitch.
Yeah, great off-speed pitch there by Clayton there to start the game. Ebel, good job, good approach in the play, but that one was just too nice of a pitch to do anything with there. So let's see if Logan Amos will have any more success than Garrett Gable.
I'll bring up Logan Amos from VCU. He's a native of Powhatan, Virginia, which is about 20 minutes from Richmond, where he plays collegiately. Lefty on righty matchup as Clayton steams in the first pitch for a strike. Also a Logan on Logan matchup while we're at it.
Not too many times you'll see that, but here in the second at-bat of the Tom Sox, you'll see it, so very impressive.
Ahead in the count is Clayton. He kicks, delivers, and that one is hit on the screws, deep center field, going back to the track wall, and this one is going to one-hop the fence and kicks up dirt on the track as Amos cruises in to second base with a one-out double.
As you mentioned, we had the first Logan-Logan matchup of the day, and it appears that Logan won there, getting a double to get the first Tom Sox base runner there. Wyatt Langford coming to the plate here, looking to get some offense started here in the first.
And Langford's been swinging a hot bat as well. He had a walk-off two-run double in the first game of a doubleheader against the Winchester Royals a couple weeks ago. Actually almost hit for the cycle in a game against the Strasburg Express last week. Was finished a double short.
Yes, a double shy, and it was a 7-inning game, so maybe a little shorted there out of an at-bat. But as you mentioned, great season so far for Langford, looking to continue it here on July 4th.
Runner on second base, 1 out for the Tom Sox. 0-0 ball game here early. As Clayton looks back, now he delivers, and that one is called a strike.
Langford actually leading the team in batting average with 328, the only Tom Sox player to bat over 300 here, coming in as we approach the All-Star game, which is going to be just next week in Harrisonburg.
Yeah, it'll be a fun time in a beautiful ballpark. The 0-1 as Clayton fires a slider that misses outside. Outfielders playing Langford straight away as Waynesboro got runners on first and third in the top of the first. Unable to score, Charlottesville now with a runner in scoring position on second with 1 away. As Langford batting from the right side, wearing that blue Florida batting helmet. The 1-1, straight down the middle for a strike.
Yeah, and for this Tom Sox team, runs have been the difference maker in most of their games. When they win, they're scoring over 7 runs a game, but when they lose, they're just over 3. So getting this offense kick-started early against the Waynesboro Generals, specifically against Clayton, is the key here.
Big leadoff second for Amos. Remember, team's not afraid in this league to steal third base. We'll see what the Tom Sox decide to do here on a 1-2 count. Long look back to second. Now a delivery, and that one is downstairs.
Yeah, no one holding Amos on there, so able to get a big lead, as you were saying. And like you said, in the Valley Baseball League, no one's afraid to steal any bases, so I don't know why they're giving him such a huge chance here early on with only 1 gone.
On deck is Trevor Candelaria. The 2-2 to Langford is a broken bat off the end down to first base. It's going to get the runner over to third, but Langford retired as 3 unassisted for Figueredo. And with 2 outs now, the Tom Sox have a runner on third. It'll be up to the cleanup man.
Yeah, Trevor Candelaria out of Davidson had his best year there this year out of Davidson, as I said. I spoke to him a few weeks ago about his time there. He actually got injured after his first year, so finally able to play healthy. Batted a career-high 285 and looking to continue that here in the Valley Baseball League, and he's done a pretty good job so far. He's
out of Davidson, and he's probably a candidate for best hair on the team, if I'm being honest. Him and Brady Kurtner.
I think he definitely wins the award for best offensive hair. Kurtner might have him on the mound, but we'll consider him co-leaders for the team at least.
He's ahead in the count 1-0 as that one misses upstairs. Amos, the runner on third after a 1-out double, and then Langford just moved him over with the ground out to first as Candelaria way ahead of that off-speed pitch. He's from Durango, Colorado, so I believe that's the furthest away a Tom Sox player is, as I just eyeball the roster. The 1-1 by Clayton. He fires, and wow, that was a rough-looking swing by Candelaria there.
Yeah, that ball looked like it started outside and then even moved further outside of the strike zone there. A little aggressive at-bat so far from Candelaria, trying to bring that guy home for the first run of the game, but you just got to stay within yourself. Obviously 2 strikes now, but can't be way too aggressive.
So Garrett Spikes would be next for the Tom Sox. He waits on deck, but a 1-2 pitch to Candelaria. Beautiful fastball, outer half, and Candelaria goes down looking. So the Tom Sox, just like their opponents, leave a runner on third base in the bottom of the first inning as we are headed to the second, tied 0-0 here on July 4th. You're listening to Tom Sox Baseball. Welcome back to Crutchfield Park. We'd like to welcome you in wherever you are. Watching from Charlottesville, Waynesboro. Of course, it seems like half the town is here for this Lone Valley Baseball League game of the day. We'd like to throw out a special welcome to those of you listening in the state of North Carolina. A lot of these players from that state. And leading off for the Generals in the in the top of the second inning is catcher Connor Cena, who takes a ball.
Yeah, as you mentioned, great crowd here today at Crutchfield. Honestly, one of the biggest crowds I think I've seen so far. A lot of people on the hill, so great crowd here for a 4th of July game.
That one outside, now it's 2-0. And a lot of times what happens with this game, since we started earlier, is fans kind of come a little bit later as the temperature goes down, which today is super relevant as the 2-0 comes in from Worley, and it's a swing and a miss for strike one.
Another great pitch from Worley there. As we saw in the first half of the inning, 2 strikeouts there in the first and got off to a quick start with those. So let's see if he can fight back and keep going here. Great job from escaping a first and third jam.
That one misses upstairs again as Connor Cena, who plays in the SEC, South Carolina. He's a native of Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, which is just outside Charleston. Here's the 3-1, and that one is on the ground with eyes, and it's going to get through first and second for a ground base hit to right field, and the Generals have their leadoff man aboard.
Not a hard hit ground ball there, just poked it through with the second baseman, Iser there, playing closer to the bag at second, so a pretty big gap between the first and second baseman, and just able to sneak through for a leadoff single.
That'll bring up Max Weller, who has been one of the regulars for the Generals this year. He was the leadoff man in Friday night's matchup, and he slides down to 7th here with a runner on first base, and now Worley will go from the stretch. He kicks, he fires, and that is solid contact into the gap in left field. It's going to loop up, however, and they're going to be able to hold it to a single, are the Tom Sox. So first and second for the Generals, and Worley now putting the ball in the zone, but now Waynesboro batter's starting to figure him out a bit.
Yeah, great job. Great hit there, first of all, by Max Weller. As you mentioned, he's done a great job. And then a great job by Candelaria getting to that ball quickly, taking a good angle, and throwing it in before the runner Cena was able to advance at third. He thought about going, then quickly thought better of it.
Johnny Rezick, the designated hitter, and the 8-hole man for the Generals, steps up to the plate. He plays at East Carolina, who made it to the Super Regionals before being knocked out by Vanderbilt. Native of Colfax, North Carolina, which is dead halfway between Greensboro and Winston-Salem, home of one of the largest FedEx facilities in the country, and he swings and misses at the first pitch.
A very aggressive swing there, as you said, by Rezick for strike one. Let's see if, maybe
lays off that one down and away.
Maybe where we can settle in here, obviously first 2 runners in the inning making solid contact, but, maybe able to settle down here and, right the ship in the second.
Count is even 1-1. Score is even 0-0 here in the top of the second. The kick, the delivery by Worley. That one is a called strike over the outer half. Rezick had a big at-bat in Friday's game. He batted in the 8th inning and against his college teammate for the Tom Sox, Carter Spivey. Excuse me, it was the 9th inning. The 1-2. That one downstairs for a ball, and he actually hit it directly back to the mound. Spivey knocked it down and was able to turn a pivotal double play in a 1-run ball game.
Yeah, that game, it seemed like the Tom Sox, as you mentioned earlier, scored 3 runs in the first, and it seemed every inning after that the Generals were threatening to make a comeback, but luckily they were able to hold them off and win the 9-inning game.
Fire from Worley, and that one fouled back out of play.
That's one thing that's so special about the VBL is you'll see these guys that spend so much time with each other throughout the year, and now they're getting to face off one another, which, sometimes they'll get to do that in practice, but never in a game situation. So you'll get some fun matchups like we saw on Friday.
Of course, a league rule that says you can only have 4 players from a given school, so some limits on that, but still these Tom Sox have a lot of repeat schools on the roster, as that one downstairs for ball 3, and it's a full count.
A great job back there by Garrett Gable blocking the ball and preventing the runners from advancing, because the last thing you want here on the mound if you're Worley is any more runners in scoring position.
From the stretch, he looks back to second. Now he kicks and fires, and that one is a called third strike at the letters, and that was a gutsy pitch from Worley.
Yeah, really painting the black there on the top right side, or top outside zone, I should say, of the zone. And, if you're the batter there, Rezick, not much you can do except just walk back to the dugout and shake your head.
That one would have made Mick Jagger proud as we get to the 9-hole hitter for the Generals. And it's third baseman Alex Arauz, who actually came in as a sub at the catcher position on in Friday's game. So he can do multiple positions, as many of these players can here in the Valley League, and he takes the ball downstairs.
Yeah, Arauz, as you said, done really well so far. Only gotten 14 at-bats in the Valley Baseball League, but batting .429, so obviously not a huge sample size, but certainly a good thing for things to come.
He's got runners on first and second with one away, and he hits this one sharply to left field, but it is tailing, and it will get foul.
That one had the distance, but luckily just tailed foul if you're on the mound there for Worley, so got to focus up here and prevent any more solid contact. As you mentioned earlier, the first two batters of this inning, able to square him up, but hopefully you can escape this jam.
Lots of fans out there down the left field line. Somebody just got a souvenir. Of course, you can keep every foul ball that's hit into the crowd here at Crutchfield Park. The 1-1, Worley fires, and did he hold up? It appears he did. No appeal down to the base umpire, and it's 2-1.
Yeah, you mentioned the fans down in left field here. Looks like there's fans in every part of the ballpark tonight, which is really great to see. Even with the hot weather, people still coming out and supporting one of the oldest American traditions here at Crutchfield.
The 2-1, that one called a strike, and I think Arauz was expecting something different there because that one came down straight down the middle.
Yeah, for a team that got to a hot start this inning, smacking the ball around the ballpark, a weird take there, but, still got time if you're Arauz.
Count is even 2-2. 2 men on, 1 out. And that one comes right down the middle again. Strike 3. So Worley, after allowing 2 hits, has 2 strikeouts, backwards strikeouts at that. And now 2 on, 2 out for the top of the order, Aiden Huggins.
Yeah, so that's 4 strikeouts so far for Worley. He got the first 2 batters of the game, both on swinging strikeouts with some great off-speed pitches. And here able to get Rezick and Arauz for 2 looking strikeouts here to go 1 out away from escaping a really tough jam here.
Here's Huggins, who's 0 for 1 today. He squares around to bunt, and he pulls back, and that one comes inside for a ball. Huggins out of Illinois State, which is the alma mater of actor Craig Robinson, who you might know from This Is the End or Hot Tub Time Machine. But he's a native of Edmonton, Alberta. I wonder if he's a Connor McDavid fan. He's ahead in the count 1-0. And now he's back even as he fouls this one off toward the Generals' dugout.
Yeah, and I'd love to sit down with Huggins and talk about some of the many differences between Alberta, Canada, and Charlottesville or Waynesboro, Virginia. I'm sure there are many.
Maybe the temperature, maybe.
Just slightly, yeah, during the summertime, maybe a little bit.
Alberta, great place to spend time, I will say, as we have a mound visit from the catcher, Garrett Gable. I think they had the signals crossed there. I was fortunate enough to be in Calgary and Banff a few summers ago, but never made it to Edmonton. As that's a quick conference there from Ebel, and he heads back wearing that Virginia Tech catcher's gear. One of the cool things about this league is you see all the colors and logos from the colleges that these players represent.
He actually spoke with some of the Tom Sock staff the other day, and they said they really like this new change with allowing players to wear their college batting helmets.
That one swung on and missed on a good-looking slider downstairs. And now the Tom Sox 1 pitch away from stranding 2 runners yet again. As Waynesboro opened this inning with back-to-back singles from the 6 and 7 hitters, but 2 strikeouts since from Worley, and now he's from the stretch. Looks back to second from the belt. That one is a mile in the air, foul territory. We'll see if the park's going to hold it. Looks like it will, and first baseman Wyatt Langford falls to his backside and loses the ball as he does, so it's just going to be a foul. As Tom Sox players heading off the field, because Langford did have the ball in his grip for just a moment, but not long enough for it to be an out.
Yeah, great effort there. As you said, that ball was hit a mile high right near the dugout, so great play, or almost a great play, I should say, for Langford to at least make a competitive play on it, but unable to make the catch for the third out. So.
And that was the right call, as that one took place right in front of the Tom Sox dugout, and home plate umpire Matthew Pierman right on top of it. So in the words of Van Morrison, there's no need for argument. There's no argument at all. And it's 1-2 with 2 away. Leadoff man Huggins, 0 for 1 today. The 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike three, and that's his second strikeout here in as many innings as the Tom Sox work out of a jam for the second straight inning. And it's 0-0 heading to the bottom of the second. You're listening to Tom Sox Baseball. Bottom of the second inning upcoming here at Crutchfield Park. We'd like to thank Carter Bank and Trust for their support of the Tom Sox through the years and for their sponsorship of free admission for every fan for every game this year of this 2021 season.
And Tom Sox fans are certainly take advantage of that free admission here today. We might break our capacity record, or our attendance record, I should say, in 2021.
Yeah, actually, I didn't get to be here when Chris Long threw out the first pitch, but I heard that was a pretty big crowd as well.
Yeah, I think the big difference between that day and today is just how many people are up on the hill. I cannot believe, straight in dead center, how many families there are. There's tents set up, and some people just bringing lawn chairs. So a great job by the Tom Sox staff to bring a crowd here on the 4th of July.
And if you're new to this, Tom Sox have been doing this for a few years now. I think since 2016 they've been playing the Generals on July 4th. The rest of the league takes the day off, but this is the annual tradition, and it's tied 0-0 here in the bottom of the second as Garrett Spikes leads things off for Charlottesville. Spikes from the University of Georgia swings and misses at the first pitch, and he's gotten to pitch a little. I think he pitched on Thursday against Waynesboro, if I'm not mistaken.
He did pitch in Waynesboro, and that outing did not go as well as his first. He did make one appearance in Covington where he faced one and got him out, but not as good of a job in Waynesboro.
He golfed this one the opposite way in the air. Jackson Ross tracking over, and he makes a wonderful sliding catch on his stomach for out number one, so robbing Spikes of at least a double there. And if he doesn't make that play, he's on the ground with no other fielders around him.
Yeah, great play there by Ross. You know, sometimes fielders might be able to just play that one off the wall or something like that and just hold it to a single. But, great diving, or I should say sliding grab there by Ross to save the, what you said, potentially double. And if you miss that catch, that could easily be a triple, if not more.
Cal Stark digs in, and he's I've learned he's one of the more popular players for our Tom Sox TV stuff and for interviews.
Yes, Cal Stark, great guy. I actually did a segment with him last week where me and my co-worker, Brendan Farrell, learned some catching stances, actually, so that was pretty fun.
He takes a strike. Stark is at the designated hitter position today, so he gets to sit in that dugout while everyone else is on the field.
Yes, and a lot of the times he's catching behind the dish there, so I'm sure he's very grateful to not have to wear that heavy catching equipment here on the 4th of July.
He's behind 0-1. Stark out of Weatherford College in Texas, so speaking of that heat, he's probably not as bothered by it as some of these other guys. The 0-1 is downstairs. Stark started to swing. They appeal down to first, and he held up.
Again, before that, he was at Navarro College, which, if any of you guys watch Netflix, is where the documentary Cheer came from. He told us that when we were doing our segment with him, so he is definitely used to the high heat during the summer.
Count is even at 1-1. Stark, who's got home run power, looked like he was going for one there, but it ends up being a foul ball back to the screen, and on-deck batter Cole Foster saunters over to return the ball to the dugout.
And one thing that was so fun about last night's 12-1 victory over Percival is Cal Stark actually got to pitch for the first time since high school, believe it or not.
The outcome was not in doubt, by the way, as it's a 1-2 to Stark with one away, and that one dips downstairs. Count is even at 2-2. Count is even now. And that one called third strike over the inside corner, and Stark takes a look back to home plate umpire Matthew Pierman, and to the umpire's credit, that's been called consistently through these first 2 innings.
Yeah, one thing I've noticed about Cal Stark is he is very, should I say emotional, or very, he lets the umpire know when he disagrees with a strike third call. I've seen it a couple times at Crutchfield. You know, you like your players to have a little bit of grit to them. But unfortunately, they're down for the first strikeout, his first strikeout.
And you can't see it, but Stark is talking to the on-deck batter, Eddie Eisert, about what kind of pitcher this Clayton is and what kind of strike zone there is. So Tom Sox inning continues here with the bases empty and 2 away, as it is Cole Foster now to the plate in the 7 hole. He's at short today, and he's been one of the regulars for this team out of Auburn. One of the guys who's been here since day one. The 0-1, he chops this one on the ground to second. Losing his footing momentarily is Aiden Huggins, but recovering and making the throw over to first for the out. So 1-2-3 go the Tom Sox here in the bottom of the second. And we go to the third, tied 0-0 with the Waynesboro Generals. You're listening to Tom Sox Baseball. Two, 3, and 4 due up for Waynesboro here in the top of the third as we battle in a scoreless ball game. Waynesboro has gotten 2 men on each of the first 2 innings, but Christian Worley has found a way out of it, and you just kind of wonder how much longer that can continue.
Yeah, for Worley, as you mentioned, great job so far getting out of jams. Had first and third in the first inning, and then allowing the first 2 guys to reach base via singles in the second. Both innings done a fantastic job of escaping it, but as you mentioned, it's just a matter of time, or we'll see if it's just a matter of time before the Generals' batting lineup is able to come through here against Worley.
Sean Ross leads things off for Waynesboro. He was a strikeout victim his first time at the plate.
Yeah, and for Worley so far, he's shown strikeout potential, you know, with the swing and miss stuff, but also had some nice caught guys looking. So able to flash both of them, and you know that's exactly what you want from your pitching staff.
He takes a strike. Ross wears number 8 for the Generals. Cal Ripken Jr.'s old number. Carl Yastrzemski's old number if you're a real old-timer. And he's behind 0-1 as same pitch, same result for Christian Worley.
Yeah, another beautiful pitch there. Not much you can do on the inside corner there with the off-speed pitch, just to jam him even if he would have swung at it. So great job so far.
Here's the 0-2, and that one just upstairs.
Another great pitch there by Worley, as you mentioned, just upstairs. But if you're able to bring that down just another half inch or so, I'm sure you're going to get the call by the home plate umpire.
The 1-2 pitch, when it's on the ground, third base line, it stays fair. Cam Guidry boots it as it was a tough play to begin with, and the Generals are going to get a leadoff base runner. And that'll be ruled a hit.
Yeah, that was a tough play there for Guidry, right on the line, and it looked as he went to, get under it, but instead of making the backhand grab. So tough play, and that'll be the first hit for the Generals here in the third.
So Jackson Ross steps to the plate. He drew a 4-pitch walk his first time up.
Perhaps more impressively, had that great play out there in left field in the bottom of the second against Garrett Spikes.
Yeah, and that Spikes being the leadoff hitter as Jackson Ross takes a strike. If Ross doesn't make that play, then the Tom Sox inning probably turns out completely different.
Yeah, no, it would have been guy on second or maybe even third if he doesn't make that play with no one out. So great job to preserve the shutout for the Generals.
The 0-1 is fouled back out of play, and that's a play we'll probably come back to if this is a close game later on. Worley ahead in the count, 0-2. With Sean Ross on first. No relation between these two, by the way.
That is very interesting that they have the two Rosses back-to-back, even though they're not related.
The 0-2 is fouled back, and the Tom Sox in 2018 had a set of brothers from the University of Florida, Hunter McMullen, who was a pitcher, and Kirby McMullen, who caught and played I think, third base and some other positions in the field. So those guys were fun to watch, and Kirby actually came back for 2019, and he was one of the team's best players. Now the 0-2. Runner takes off. That pitch called a ball outside. Throw down to second is right on time. Sean Ross says to the umpire, "I'm safe." The umpire says to Sean Ross, "No, you're out." And there's one away, and the base is empty.
Yeah, great throw there behind the dish by Garrett Gable. It looks like the throw actually got there before the second baseman got there. So great throw, right on target and right on time to get the first out of the inning.
Just to be clear, Ross was not arguing. I think he was just more wishful thinking, but that one was pretty easy to tell even from where we're sitting as the 1-2 comes in and bounces downstairs for a ball, 2-2. You know, kind of when football players point their way on a fumble, just hoping that their team is the one who recovered it.
Maybe hoping slightly that your motion will convince the umpire, but not the case.
That one is hit high and deep into center field, but the park's going to hold it as Candelaria jogs back to the track and makes the grab. 2 away.
And as we said before on broadcast in the past, this is a very pitcher-friendly ballpark, I would say. And at some parks, maybe that ball is out for the first run of the game, but Candelaria able to make the catch on the warning track for the second out of the third.
290 down the right field line. 320 down the left field line, so we've got an asymmetrical park. 335 to right center, 345 to left center, and 365 to dead center. And using these wood bats, I mean, it's not quite as big as many college parks are, but you do have to get a hold of one to get it out of here. His first pitch swinging for Zach Levinson, and that one is way up in the air, short center field. It'll be the second baseman, Eddie Eisert, calling everybody off to make the grab. So the Generals get a leadoff single, but the Tom Sox defense comes to play yet again, and we are scoreless going to the bottom of the third. You're listening to Tom Sox Baseball. Welcome back to Crutchfield Park. Luke Nadkarni, Dylan Castaigne here with you on this Independence Day, and there's a big crowd that's filed in, even some dogs, as the Tom Sox will have 8, 9, and 1 coming to the plate here in the bottom half of the third. And Dylan, the Generals, variations on a theme. They get the base runner to start the inning, but the Tom Sox defense rises to the challenge.
Yeah, while the fans may be in attendance here at Crutchfield Park, it looks like the offense has not yet made an appearance. A couple threatening here and there, but some great job by both starting pitchers and the defenses behind them to keep us scoreless as we head to the bottom of the third.
Tom Sox will be led off here in the third by Eddie Eisert, who comes from NC State, who I don't think I need to tell people how their season ended. Eisert was one of the players that did play in that final game against Vanderbilt.
Isaac rocking a beautiful white helmet. Big fan of it.
Looks good with the white pants. Plays for Elliott Avent at North Carolina State. And right off the bat, no pun intended, the Tom Sox have a leadoff base runner as he stings that one between first and second for a leadoff single.
And for Isaac, it looks like it's look good, play good as he laces that one right between the first and second baseman for the first batter in the inning. And as we mentioned earlier, now we have the last batter of the Tom Sox lineup, Cam Guidry, one of the better hitters, up with a chance to flip the lineup over here with no one on.
Yeah, we talked about that at the top, how you if you put a better hitter in the 9-hole, it's almost like having an extra leadoff hitter, as Guidry, one of the 2 Georgia Bulldogs in the lineup today. As Clayton goes from the stretch, Guidry squares around to bunt. The runner takes off, but the throw off target, and Sean Ross has to fall down to keep it from going into center field. And Isaac looked like he was in no man's land there, as I think he was expecting Guidry to get that bunt down, but it works out okay for the Tom Sox.
Yeah, Isaac really lucky there that the throw was way off target, off to second base side of the bag. Cam Guidry unable to make contact with the bunt, but luckily for Isaac, didn't matter, still got the stolen base.
I should say Guidry did pull it back, so it was called a ball. It's a 1-0 count. That one a strike over the middle.
It was almost a delayed steal there for Isaac, as he did run even after it looked like the pitch was going to be outside, but a great job hustling there, even if it was a late jump to steal the bag, and now they got a runner in scoring position with no one gone.
Clayton looks back to second. Now he delivers, and that one just misses downstairs. Guidry with the red helmet and the red shin guard with some contrast to the team uniforms that are blue and green. And Ebel, who's on deck, has an orange one, so. Guidry reassumes the batter's box on a 2-1 count. Runner on second, nobody away in a scoreless ball game, as that one is over the inside corner for strike 2.
It looks like Guidry was not too happy with that call there, but the home plate umpire has been consistent. Even if the players aren't too happy with it, at least he's being consistent for both teams, so we'll see how much that affects the game as we go forward.
And as you get more at-bats, you get used to the strike zone, and you go up for your second at-bat like Ebel's about to, you kind of have a better idea of what to look for from this pitcher as he fires from the belt, and that one is fouled back off the backstop.
And no one holding Isaac on the last few pitches, so able to get a good lead. And then I've noticed that he's gotten a really big secondary. So if Cam is able to lace one here, possibility of scoring from second on is Isaac for the first run of the game.
Waynesboro has left 4 on here through the first 3 innings. If you ask them, they probably should be ahead by a couple right now. But 2-2 with nobody out. As Guidry awaits, and he swings, and it's I thought it was a foul tip, but it was a swing and a miss. It got by the catcher, so they have to throw down to first base. They get Guidry out, but in all the commotion, Isaac moves over to third base. And I think the Generals dugout might be asking whether that was a foul tip. I certainly thought it was, but it could have actually just gone off the catcher's mitt.
Yeah, it appeared to be. I also believe it was a foul ball, but it seemed like the fans almost noticed that it was a drop third strike before Cam Guidry did, eventually dropping his bat and running to first. But, with the delay, unable to make it there, but still moves the runner over.
So if you think about it in other terms, it kind of functions like a sacrifice bunt for the Tom Sox, as now they've got a guy just 90 feet away from scoring as Garrett Gable comes up for his second at-bat.
Yeah, as we mentioned earlier, Ebel doing a pretty good job for the Tom Sox this summer. Already has 12 RBIs, looking to get his 13th one here for the first run of the game on 4th of July.
Strikeout victim his first time at the plate, and now he is even in the count 1-1 as the 1-0 is over the outside corner.
Wow, great frame job there behind the dish by Cena to bring that ball back into the zone for strike 2. Or strike 1, I should say.
Tom Sox looking to strike first here in the bottom of the third, as that one fouled straight back, 1-2.
And as I mentioned earlier for the Sox, runs, in any baseball game, obviously, runs are the way you win. But they've won a lot of games by scoring a lot. So far, it seems like this game is not going to be quite that way. Obviously, there's plenty of baseball left to be played. But any way you can scrap across these runs in these tight ball games can really make a difference as we head down to the later innings.
The 1-2. The delivery. And that one is foul-tipped past the catcher. We'll do it again.
Like we mentioned earlier, we talked about having Cam Guidry at the bottom of the lineup. Now we have Guy on third with the top of your lineup coming up. That is probably exactly what Coach Corey Kohler, thought of when he was designing this lineup for today's game.
On deck is Logan Amos, who had a double his first time at the plate. As that one comes inside and hits Ebel. Looked like on the shoulder or the arm, and he'll take first base. So now it's runners on the corners with one away.
The Generals threatened earlier in this game with a first and third, guys on first and third in the top of the first. Now the Tom Sox looking to strike here with their own opportunity. First and third, one gone, with Logan Amos coming to the dish here.
And the middle of the order now coming up for the Tom Sox is two-hole hitter now. Wyatt Langford on deck, and barring a double play, Langford will get a shot at the plate. Double play depth, however, for the Generals. Defense is that one is going to get through the infield between between second and third for a single, and the Tom Sox take a 1-0 lead right on cue.
Yeah, great approach there by Logan Amos. Not waiting for his certain pitch, just finding a pitch, lining it right between the gap there. Like we've said time and time again, don't always need to hit it hard, just hit it where they aim. And he does there for the first Tom Sox run of the game.
So Amos has the two easy parts of the cycle in his first two at-bats. I say easy like any of us could hit a ball going 90 miles an hour, but he's 2 for 2 here in the third, and the Tom Sox strike first.
I don't know. Maybe if you put Cal Stark on the mound, maybe I could get a single. But any of these other guys, I don't think I have too high of a shot.
Well, it's a good thing Cal is in the lineup and not listening to the broadcast today, as the Tom Sox now with first and second one away, and now a really dangerous spot if you're Waynesboro with a heavy hitter Langford and Candelaria and Spikes coming up next.
Yeah, the Tom Sox are known for having these big run innings. 32% of their innings they've scored, and then they've scored 3 or more runs in 20 innings this season. So if you're the Tom Sox, looking to capitalize here and break this game open.
First pitch to Langford, called a ball. Second pitch is a fastball right down the middle, and he offers at it and fouls it out of play. You'll see the umpire signal back to the Tom Sox dugout. He throws up a number of fingers, and that's how many baseballs he has left in his pocket, which means whoever has the job today of delivering new balls to the umpire needs to be alert.
Yeah, unfortunately here in the Valley Baseball League, we do not have bat boys and, and ball boys, so the players on their off days do have to act in that role and keep running back between the dugout and home plate for the umpire.
1-1 to Langford. Tom Sox ahead 1-0 here in the bottom of the third. Ebel on second. And Amos on first following the RBI as Logan Clayton steps off and chases Ebel back to second base with, again, nobody holding him on.
Yeah, interesting move there considering the Tom Sox have stolen a lot of bases. They've stolen 78 so far this year through just 25 games.
This one is again on the ground and again through the infield, this time to the right side, and they're going to wave the runner Ebel. They won't throw home, and they'll throw to third instead, but the runner will dive in safely. An RBI single for Wyatt Langford, and the Tom Sox early on, they've got the piece of paper out, and they're paper cutting Waynesboro to death.
Yeah, not any hard hit balls. I don't even know if they've gotten a hit to the outfield yet, but all these balls that are just getting past the second baseman, as this one just between the first and second baseman. But if you're Corey Kohler and his team, you will take those runs however you can get them.
Quick conference now between Connor Cena and Logan Clayton. And actually, now that you mention it, I think Garrett Spikes has maybe the best contact of the Tom Sox for the day, but Jackson Ross just made an awesome play in left field.
Yeah, as we mentioned back in the second there, great job in left field by Jackson Ross. Nothing you can do there, just, tip your cap and then come back in your next at-bat, and hopefully this time you can win the matchup.
As Tom Sox center fielder Trevor Candelaria, the 3-hole hitter, digs into Can I Kick It from A Tribe Called Quest, who is unequivocally the greatest hip-hop group in existence. That will not be debated. As he bats with runners on the corners, the runner takes off for second. They're just going to let Langford have the stolen base as the catcher popped up to maybe throw it but realized he didn't have a play. And now 2 men in scoring position already with 2 runs in.
Yeah, and Candelaria, one of the most clutch hitters in this Tom Sox lineup that we've seen. He had a walk-off a few weeks back here at Crutchfield. So looking to come through here and break this game open in the bottom of the third.
Pitch was a strike. It's 0-1 with 1 away. Clayton delivers, and this one is again on the ground. It's going to be playable as the third baseman, Arauz, grabs it, tags the runner Langford, and fires it over to first for a double play as they ruled Langford out of the baseline. And Tom Sox upset about that one, but nothing they can do as the Generals defense makes a play of their own, and they are able to limit the damage here in the bottom of the third. But the Tom Sox get 2 across, and they take a 2-0 lead into the fourth. You're listening to Tom Sox Baseball. Tom Sox lead 2-0 here in the top of the fourth, but Dylan, it really could have been worse for the Waynesboro Generals, as maybe some misguided base running there with one away.
Yeah, Langford was the runner on second there, and there was no one forcing him behind to run to third, but still aggressively running to third, and a great play by the third baseman for Waynesboro, Dansky, to make the play. Oh, I'm sorry, Arauz to make the play, making the 5U over to third and flipping the double play to get them out of the jam.
It'll be first baseman Alejandro Figueiredo leading things off for Waynesboro in the top of the fourth. He was a ground out to short victim his first time at the plate, and he fouls that one out over the batting cage and into the woods. And well, we talked about this heat, Dylan, but the players from both teams get the luxury of that indoor batting cage when they play here.
Yeah, it's a really nice batting facility we have over there near the right field fence, or down the first baseline, I should say.
That one called a strike at the knees, and Christian Worley now staked to a 2-0 lead. We'll see if he pitches a little more with a little more pep here. He's been working quickly all evening. And that one is hit in the air, right center field. Could be trouble, but it's going to hang up a little too long, and Candelaria coasts over and make the grab.
A great grab there by Candelaria, but as you were saying, for the Tom Sox, it's really clutch to settle in and make some great plays, and Worley, he's given up he's allowed the first guy to get on in the last 2 innings, so great job to get Figueiredo to start a great job in the fourth, and now he has this lead a lot more comfortable. 2 runs isn't a whole lot, but can still pitch with a little more comfort here, knowing your offense has got your back today.
And you've got a man at the plate who's got home run power. He went yard here on Friday night, Connor Cena, who's the catcher today, and takes a strike at the letters, and it was no cheapie. That one got out halfway up the trees, and he bats here with the bases empty and 1 away, and now he takes a ball downstairs.
Yeah, and while that home run may have been way out of the park, his single in the second of the inning was just, as we mentioned, that blooper in right field that dropped just between the right fielder and the second baseman for his first hit of the afternoon.
The 1-1 is bounced foul into the Tom Sox dugout. Waynesboro has gotten a base runner every inning to this point, but has not brought anyone around. They've left 4 on. The 1-2 from Worley. Strike 3 called as the slider bends in back door, and they're 2 away.
As we've mentioned, as you go further along in this game, the batters are learning the strike zone more and more, but so are the pitchers, and great job there by Christian Worley to know that outside zone has been a little generous by the home plate umpire, so getting the nice call there for the second out and the first strikeout of the inning.
Here's Max Weller, the center fielder, who is one of the top men for at-bats for Waynesboro as he takes a ball.
Also top 5 in batting average, batting .322, which is really impressive.
He's ahead in the count 1-0, and now he's ahead in the count 2-0 as that one is up at his eyeballs. Wearing number 21, the immortal Sean Taylor's number. The 2-0 called a strike at the letters.
I may be a little biased here, and this may be a little bit of a deep cut, but when I think of the number 21, I think Lucas Duda, the first baseman for the New York Mets. A little bit of a throwback there. I don't think he's in professional baseball anymore, but
as the 2-1 comes in and buzzes the tower as he leans away from it. Good pull there, by the way. I know you're a Mets fan, and then they had a pretty good game today against their Subway Series rivals.
Yes, my entire family are Yankee fans, so this, and especially last night's game, was very fun in my family group chats to talk about.
I'll put it this way. I am not a Mets fan, but I'm not a Yankees fan either, and that one is called strike by Matthew Pierman, 3-2.
Yeah, and Pierman getting the starting his walk over there to first base, but umpire brings him back and says, not quite yet. You're strike there called, and now we're at a full count.
Pay off to Weller, and that one hit him in the small of the back, and I think Weller would have been okay if that was just a ball. Either way, he gets first base, and the Tom Sox allow a base runner for the 4th straight inning, and really every inning so far.
Yeah, but the key for Worley is working out of those jams. As you mentioned, every inning there's been base runners, and every inning, he's been able to work out of it. So 2 gone so far here, but you still got to focus on the next batter, which in this case is Joey Rezick, who was struck out last time with runners on, so hopefully you can get him out again if you're Worley.
Rezick, however, no slouch at the plate. Batting with a runner on and fouling the first pitch back, 0-1. Tom Sox plated 2 on a couple of RBI singles in the in the third inning. That was the only scoring to this point. Waynesboro's left 4 on base. It was a nice-looking double play by the Waynesboro defense to keep that third inning from still going on, as that one is low and outside, count is even.
Yeah, great job to escape that jam before it gets too bad out there for Logan Clayton, but hoping to get some runs here in the top of the fourth are the Generals.
Pickoff throw to first, not in time, and you see the Tom Sox outfield playing quite deep for this 8-hole hitter, and with a runner on first, you definitely don't want to allow anything past you to the fence. Runner will be going on contact if there is any, with 2 outs, and that one called a strike.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, these outfielders playing pretty deep here already so far. A couple balls hit to the warning track or a few feet in front of the warning track, so like you mentioned, you don't want anything behind you here with the runner advancing on contact.
Worley looks in, kicks, delivers the 1-2, and that one misses downstairs. And we saw the runner take a big secondary there, so we'll see if they start him here with a 2-2 count. Worley pitching like he's got a fireworks show to watch later, as he steams this one in, and it's sent right back up the middle on the ground for a base hit. So this one shaping up kind of like the first inning. First 2 batters get out, but then the next 2 batters get on.
Yeah, for Worley, you got 2 outs, got the first 2 batters out, like you mentioned, back in the first inning. But, getting the 2 early quick outs, you got to stay focused here and focus on the batter, because you're not out of it quite yet. And for Worley, you got a good defense playing behind you. For today, they've been playing well. Let the ball come to them. Let them make the plays. You just focus on the batter.
Here's Otto Ooze, the third baseman, who was the catalyst for that double play in the bottom half of the third. He swings and misses at the first pitch, and he bats with first and second here and 2 out. Worley looks back. Nobody holding on the runner at second, nor at first for that matter, as that one is hit in the air, right side. It's foul territory. We'll see if anyone can get to it, and they can, as it lands. I don't think it got over. No, it didn't. It landed on the tarp over there at the Tom Sox bullpen.
Even though that ball was definitely hit foul, both the runners advancing there, trying to advance, and now they're going to have to walk 90 feet back. A very slow walk, I should say, they're doing right now, back to their respective bases.
Of course, it's a cardinal sin on the base paths to be watching the ball. I had a coach who nicknamed me the tour guide because when I was on the base paths, I used to watch the ball more than I was supposed to. As an 0-2 count to Otto Ooze. Swing and a miss, strike 3, and my coach used to call that sightseeing, hence the nickname. But the Tom Sox strand another 2 Waynesboro runners, and Waynesboro has left 6 through 4 innings. It's 2-0 Charlottesville. You're listening to Tom Sox Baseball. Back to Crutchfield Park, Tom Sox with a 2-0 lead. And coming to bat in the bottom of the fourth, Luke Ned Carney, Dylan Costain here with you on this Independence Day. And Dylan, you just wonder how much more the Tom Sox can get away with what they've been doing, which is allowing 2 out base runners, but then getting out of the inning.
Yeah, I don't know if that's more great work on the mound by Christian Worley or a little lack of offensive play by the Generals not being able to hit with runners in scoring position.
Garrett Spikes, the first batter for the Tom Sox. He was robbed of extra bases by left fielder Jackson Ross, as his mother is in attendance today. Yes. The Spikes family from just outside the Atlanta area.
I don't know if the fans on the broadcast could hear this, but they were playing Taylor Swift's Love Story for his walk-up song today. Actually, there was a video of him singing along to that on their ride yesterday to Percival.
Gotta love the quick wit there from this Tom Sox press box crew as Spikes fouls that one, and it's gloved. Well, I shouldn't say gloved. It's picked up by the in-the-hole hitter, Cole Foster.
Yes, I believe that joke was from the brilliant mind of our producer, David Argo. Garrett Spikes getting a laugh as he walked up to the plate.
1-1 downstairs for a ball, and it's 2-1 now as Spikes got a lot of playing time toward the end of the year for Georgia because the Dogs had so many injuries. Right fielder Connor Tate, who was one of the Dogs' best players, went down with an ankle injury for the SEC tournament, so Spikes got a lot of run late in the season. As the 2-1 comes in, and that one is on the ground to second. It'll be an easy play for Huggins as he lobs it over to first for the out, and there's one away.
As we mentioned for the Tom Sox, a lot of their games are scoring high runs, 6, 7, 8-plus runs, and as we mentioned last night, scoring 12 against the Percival Cannons. But if you're the Tom Sox, you have a 2-lead here, which is nice, 2-run lead here, I should say, here, but you can't stop there. You got to be able to come through in the clutch, something that both teams have struggled with early on, and get some more runs for your pitching staff.
Here comes Cal Stark. Wearing Greg Maddox's number 31, although he's not a pitcher, except for last night. Getting a couple of outs in the win at Purcellville in Game 2, which was a 12-1 decision in favor of the Tom Sox, and he swings and foul tips the first pitch into the mitt of the catcher Cena, 0-1.
Yes, the Tom Sox media team was very quick to post about their catcher and DH pitching, and Cal was quick to respond that he hasn't pitched since 13U, he said. Sort of in jest, but still a big adjustment from his last time on the dish.
That one called a strike over the middle of the plate, and it's 0-2. And, you know, these guys get this pitching, and maybe their college coach sees that and says, hey, maybe I can bring this guy in a pinch in our regular season.
Yeah, it's always fun when these guys can get some time on the mound. The dugout obviously loves it. The fans love it.
Stark, I don't know how he held off that one, but it was off the outside corner. Really good pitch there by Clayton. And they appeal down to first, and no swing. Stark batting with one away. Tom Sox ahead 2-0 here in this annual July 4th matchup with the Waynesboro Generals. The 1-2. Clayton shrugs his shoulders. Now he delivers, and Stark gets into that one, but it's going to go foul down the right field line.
And with that doubleheader win that we've mentioned a couple of times tonight, last night, the doubleheader win against Percival, Tom Sox actually clinched the best record in the league in the first half, so great job by Corey Kohler and his staff and obviously his players, but that is obviously not their goal for the end of the season.
Tom Sox defending champions. They won 2020 season. Of course, wiped away due to COVID as Stark goes down looking. Nice pitch there by Clayton at the knees, and good to see if you're a Waynesboro fan. Clayton still pitching with confidence despite the deficit.
Yeah, I mean, both pitchers have had to work out of some tough situations. Clayton last inning getting hit for 2 runs, but great job so far getting the easy ground out, and then the strikeout looking from Cal Stark. So great job in his first inning after losing the lead here.
We go from Cal to Cole. Cole Foster digs in, the shortstop today. Batting from the left side against the right-handed pitcher. He is the lone switch hitter on this Tom Sox team as I eyeball the roster here. He's ahead 1-0 as Clayton, with 2 outs and nobody on, misses again downstairs, and it's 2-0. And people still trickling in here.
And as you mentioned, Cole Foster, the only switch hitter on the lineup, but he also got some time on the mound last night for his second outing of the year. Pitched 1 2/3 inning. That's one of the nice things you get to see from those blowout wins is some guys who normally don't get to pitch.
Foster unable to hold up on the off-speed pitch there. He broke the plane, and it's 2-1. Not the good kind of breaking the plane, to borrow a football term. Right fielder Levinson has Foster shaded almost over to the line as Foster takes a strike on the outside corner.
Beautiful slider there from Clayton on the mound just to paint the outside corner, and as we've mentioned time and time again, the home plate umpire is a little generous on that outside corner, so Clayton, as we mentioned, learning the strike zone as the further along in the game as we go.
Eddie Eisert waits on deck for the Sox as that one came in and got Foster right on the leg, and looked like it might have been in a spot where that shin guard was not covering, as they're going to give him as much time as he needs to walk down to first base. And you can even see it in his gait right now. He's feeling that one.
Yeah, as soon as that ball bounced up and got him on the calf, or the shin there, I should say, a nice grimace on his face, but able to walk off on his own power. Let's see if he stays in the game, but it looks like he wants to run the bases here, even if it's a little gingerly.
And interesting here with 2 outs from a strategy perspective. A lot of times you'll see the Tom Sox send runners with 2 away as Eisert comes to the plate, but looking at Foster walk down to first base, I do not think he's going to be running during this at-bat.
No, I don't think so. I think they're going to play it safe here, and even if there's a ground ball hit, he might be doing a slow jog over to second base, but it'll be interesting to see if they get a ball in the gap, how he plays it off.
Eisert had a single his first time at bat as he looks at that one downstairs. And he came around to score as well. One of the 2 Tom Sox runs this afternoon in a 2-0 ball game in the 4th. 1-0, the count to the left-handed hitter from NC State. Now 1-1 as that one called a strike at the letters. Eisert, one of the taller players in this lineup today, and that does him no favors with the strike zone.
Yeah, and Eisert yesterday making his debut with the Tom Sox, as you mentioned, out of NC State. Went 0 for 3 in the first game of the doubleheader, and then got his first hit with the Tom Sox in the second game, going 1 for 1 as a pinch hitter.
Fist that one down the left field line, opposite way, but it is a foul ball. That was not foul by much.
Great job there by Eisert to knock that one in just. That must have been a matter of inches, but good call there by the home plate umpire to make the call, the foul ball call, I should say. And now there are 2 strikes here.
And you see Foster, he had to take off with the contact. Now he's walking back to first with a noticeable limp, kind of jokes with the second baseman Huggins as he makes his way back to first. So that'll be something to keep an eye on for one of the best Tom Sox players in this lineup as they look to build on a 2-0 lead. Eisert at the plate facing a 1-2 count. Guidry would be next for the Sox, the 9-hole hitter. As Clayton kicks, fires, and that one misses.
And as you mentioned, we're going to have to keep an eye on that leg of Cole Foster. He's the shortstop for the Sox, so obviously someone that needs a lot of agility and flexibility, and it seems like for the foreseeable future, that's not going to be there.
And they throw down to first. Foster barely had a lead. And being at the shortstop position, that's it's not like first base where you don't move as much. So he's going to have to be all over the field on defense. I don't doubt he'll stay in the game if he's on the base paths right now as the 2-2 comes into Eisert down and outside. And a good job here by Eisert. He was behind in the count, but now it's full.
Yeah, great job to work this count back. As we mentioned, Clayton's done a great job of working out of trouble. So if you're the Tom Sox hitter, any way you can scrape across a walk, a hit, anything you can get across a stingy pitcher, you're obviously going to take.
Big pitch here for Clayton. As he kicks, fires, Foster takes off on the 3-2 count. And he's going to have a quick trip down to second as that one was downstairs for ball 4. And Eisert is on base for the second time in as many at-bats. Well, I should say plate appearances, as a walk will not count as an at-bat. Sometimes I get that mixed up with baseball. The stats are so much more rigid than they are in other sports.
Yes, many things about baseball are a lot more rigid than other sports. But for me, that's what gives it a little bit of its charm. Why I love it so much.
So Cam Guidry will bat here with 2 on and 2 away, and the Tom Sox with 2 runs on the board. Waynesboro with 0 here in the bottom of the 4th. Guidry squares around to bunt just like he did the first time, pulls it back just like he did the first time, and takes a ball.
Yeah, Guidry, as we mentioned, a part of that attempted sacrifice bunt, and then the runner, who at that point was Eisert, made a delayed steal but able to get by due to a bad throw by the catcher, Cena.
Foster, the lead runner at second after that hit by pitch on his leg, and now ahead in the count 2-0, and the pitch gets by the catcher, Cena, and that'll put 2 in scoring position for the Tom Sox as each man moves up 90 feet. And that's really important, actually, because if you get a single with Foster on second the way he is right now, not a guarantee he scores. If you get a single with the way Foster is on third, probably scores.
Yeah, obviously a lot easier, so great luck there for the Sox as the catcher, Cena, unable to make that catch. Pitch was a little bit outside, but I think definitely catchable, so I don't know if they're scoring that a pass ball or a wild pitch.
They are going to score that a pass ball. Now we have an offensive time called by Corey Kohler, who wants to speak with Guidry for a moment.
Yeah, obviously, as Guidry came to the plate, he was attempting a not a sacrifice because there's 2 outs, but a drag bunt here. But obviously, with runners in scoring position, significantly different situation. Let's see what Coach Kohler may have told him.
And with as many opportunities as the Generals have missed in these early innings, it's a 2-0 ball game. But if you make it 4-0, it'll feel like maybe 6-7, something like that.
Yeah, with the way Worley's pitched on the mound and the way that the Generals roster has not been able to come through with runners in scoring position, it certainly feels like a 4-run lead could be too decisive.
Hitters count for Guidry, and now it's 3-0 as that one stays upstairs on a fastball. Tom Sox have a little bit of action over in the bullpen. Nobody on the bump over there, but there is one guy throwing. It looks like Noah Overton, the left-hander. As Guidry, I imagine, will be taking here with a base open and the top of the order on deck. I was right, and it's a strike.
Yeah, that one close to right down the middle, but with 3-0 and the guy, struggling a little bit, 2 runners on scoring position, you got to take that pitch there. And now, still a hitter's count 3-1. Look for your pitch and hopefully drive something to bring in those 2 runs.
Now another hitter's count with runners on second and third. Waynesboro outfield playing pretty deep for Guidry, the 9-hole hitter, as he takes the ball upstairs, and he will trot down to first base. And Cam Guidry yet to put a ball in play in his 2 at-bats, but now he's on base, and the sack's full of Sox here with the top of the order due up.
And I know we've already beaten this topic to death a little bit, but like we've mentioned before, Guidry, 9-hole hitter, able to get on base, and now top of the lineup coming up. Bases loaded here with a chance to break this game wide open for the Tom Sox.
To paraphrase Eddie Murphy, the Tom Sox have a full boat with Garrett Gable doing the paddling, and they have a really good chance to bust this one open here in the 4th.
And Ebel also yet to get his first hit of the game, was hit by a pitch back in the 3rd and scored the second Tom Sox run of the game. Let's see if he can bring in some RBIs of his own here.
Clayton kicks, delivers, and he starts out the at-bat the way he wants with a called strike.
Yeah, great pitch there. And if you're Clayton, you just got to focus on the batter here. Obviously, nothing you can do about the runners, so you just got to focus on Ebel here, who is not an easy out at the top of the Tom Sox lineup, done pretty well this year. So we'll see who wins this matchup. He's done a great job at limiting the damage so far. Let's see if it can carry across here in the bottom of the 4th.
The 0-1, the delivery, swing and a miss, strike 2. Good-looking slider there as Ebel goes fishing and nobody's biting.
Yeah, now you're down 0-2 here. If you're on the mound for Clayton, you have a little bit of wiggle room as to where you can throw, but with that runner on third, can't be too experimental, as any pass ball, wild pitch could bring in the 3rd run of the game.
And you've got a hitter on deck, Logan Amos, who's already got a single and a double and 2 at-bats. So really big out to get here if you're Waynesboro, especially on a 2-0 count. Or excuse me, an 0-2 count for Clayton. And that one just off the plate, 1-2, is another good frame job by Cena there, but Matthew Pierman not buying that one.
Yeah, it's one thing I've noticed so far is a great job behind the dish for the most part, at least in the framing side of it from Cena. And yeah, if you're Logan Clayton, the last thing you want right now is to face Logan Amos with the bases loaded here.
1-2 to Ebel. The kick, the pitch, and that one on cue gets by the catcher, and it's so far that even Foster with the gimpy leg is going to just walk across home plate, and it's 3-0 Tom Sox.
Yeah, and it looks like that one hit off the knee pad almost. And that's going to be a pass ball. Yeah, it looked like it hit off the knee pad there. Not a great pitch there by Clayton, but certainly not one that should have gone off past the dugout over to the Tom Sox dugout on first base.
So now a base hit. Scores 2 runs. You've got the runner with the gimpy leg off the base paths if you're the Tom Sox. And now it's 2-2 to Ebel after being 0-2 a moment ago. Time now called.
And as we mentioned, Cena's done a great job framing pitches so far, but a couple of mistakes behind the dish. Had a pass ball last inning that resulted in a run, and now another one here that resulted in the 3rd run of the game coming home, which was Cole Foster.
2nd and 3rd, 2 away. Here's the 2-2 pitch. And that one, again, off the outer half of the plate. And you almost wonder if he doesn't frame these pitches, does he get the call?
Yeah, these are really close to the Tom Sox fans and the Waynesboro dugout letting the umpire hear it about these close calls, but he's been consistent. That's the least that you can say so far.
So with a base open, it's a 3-2 pitch with Amos on deck. Clayton fires, and that one is called a ball inside. So right back to the bases loaded are the Tom Sox with a run already in this inning, a 3-0 lead, and we're going to have a mound visit from the Generals pitching coach. There's nobody in the bullpen right now, so I don't think we're going to see a pitching change. But I think if you're Waynesboro, you think about maybe getting some activity down there.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that they haven't warmed anyone up yet. It's been a long inning. As we said, Clayton's done a great job escaping damage so far, not counting the 2 runs that crossed the plate last inning, but already given up 2 or 3 runs so far in this game with the potential for more. I'm very surprised there's no one out in that bullpen, at least stretching and getting ready to start throwing.
Coming to the plate is Logan Amos, and during pitching changes, I normally update the Valley League scoreboard, but we are the only game in town here on this Independence Day, as we've got a great crowd here at Crutchfield Park. We'd like to thank Carter Bank and Trust for their sponsorship of free admission for every fan, every age, regardless of who you support. Come on out to Crutchfield Park, watch some free baseball all season long.
As we've mentioned before, all foul balls that are hit at Crutchfield Park, you can keep. Other parks may have some sort of promotion where you bring them back and get a gift, but here at Crutchfield, you can bring home your own souvenir when you come out to the ballpark, as we mentioned, for free, thanks to Carter Bank and Trust.
So Amos bats with the bases loaded and 2 away, and the first pitch is a ball. Tom Sock's next home game will be on Wednesday against the Harrisonburg Turks. 7 o'clock first pitch, back to the normal start time for that one, as Amos heading the count 1-0, and there's nowhere to put him, as we see a couple Generals now stretching and waving their arms over near the bullpen. The 1-0, Amos hits this one up in the air, center field. It's moderately deep, but it's going to be playable for the center fielder, Max Weller. And the Tom Sox get a run across, but again, the Generals keep them from doing too much damage. A 1-run inning, a 3-0 score, and we go to the 5th. You're listening to Tom Sox Baseball. Tom Sox 3, Generals nothing. Christian Worley out back for inning number 5 on the hill. And Dylan, the Tom Sox push across a run, but they did it without a hit.
Yes, very impressive job by the Tom Sox there with some help by the catcher Cena and then some creative base running. But they used a hit by pitch in that inning and 3 walks to bring across the 3rd run of the game. And the Tom Sox this season, in their wins, have drawn twice as many walks as in their losses. So good sign for the Tom Sox so far to draw 3 walks and a hit by pitch in that inning. And Christian Worley back on the mound to come in the 5th, and he's done a great job so far at limiting the base runners and working out of tough situations. So looking to carry that back out here in the 5th.
If you're the Generals, you've got the top of the order coming to the plate. Pardon me, you've got a pinch hitter, Matt Steinbeiser.
Pinch hitting for Waynesboro from booth number 25, Matt Steinbeiser.
Yeah, and the guy he's replacing, Aiden Huggins, was 0 for 2 so far with 2 Ks, and with the Generals badly needing some offense here, they're going to go to the pinch hitter Steinbeiser, who this season's done a great job of doing just that, getting on base. in 34 at-bats. He's at a .324 batting average.
So it is the top of the order, the number 1 slot. It's just a new player, and he takes a ball to start the at-bat. I was looking for Huggins, and I was like, wait a minute, he wears a red batting helmet. This man's wearing a black batting helmet, and Worley now behind in the count. And now count is even, as unable to hold up on that one is Steinbeiser, who caught the first half of the game back here on Friday before being lifted in favor of Alex Arauz, who is at third base.
Yes, after some defensive lapses there, he was replaced, but in that game was 1 for 1, so doing relatively well against the Sox so far, and looking to carry that here in the top of the 5th.
The 1-2 is upstairs. Count is even at 2-2. And you wonder if Steinbeiser, who's also listed as a third baseman, as he hits that one well into right field, but it's directly at Garrett Spikes, who reaches up and makes the grab out number 1. You wonder if he might come in at catcher and they send someone else to second, given those pass balls in the bottom of the inning, or maybe they put him somewhere in the infield.
Yeah, some creative, in a situation like this where you're trying to cling or, fight back. The game's still close, only 3 runs, but as you mentioned earlier, in a game like this where runs have been hard to come by, a 3-4 run deficit could be insurmountable. So
here's Sean Ross, the second batter, the shortstop in the field, and he takes the ball 1-0.
Ross singled to lead off the third in his last at-bat, but was caught stealing on a great throw by Garrett Gable.
And he's one of those players you see him wearing, he's got something part of his uniform in his back pocket, like an elbow guard. He's got the shin guard on. He's got the hair coming out of the helmet. He just looks like a ball player. The 2-0 called a strike.
He looks increasingly more like a modern ball player, I should say, with his chain on, the blonde hair flowing out the cap, and all, as you said, all of the accessories. The hair reminds me a bit, I'm going to show my bias again, of Francisco Lindor. And he had those blonde locks going at the beginning of the season. He
took a Francisco Lindor-like swing there and came up empty. It's 2-2 on an off-speed pitch, and now Worley, wasting no time in between pitches, a check swing on a ball in the dirt, no swing, says the first base umpire, and the count is full.
One thing I've noticed so far in all the games that I've covered, and I don't know if I've ever seen an umpire call a guy out on a check swing. Very rarely do you see that here.
Well, no check swing here. Ross went all the way around, and I think he foul-tipped it into the mitt of Ebel, strike 3, and there are 2 away.
Yeah, for Worley, we saw earlier someone was warming up in the Tom Sox bullpen. I believe we said it was Noah Overton, but Christian Worley saying, no, I still got something left in the tank, doing a great job here in the 5th, getting the first batter to fly out to right field, and then a quick appearance by Sean Ross for the second out.
Now Jackson Ross, the left fielder, who has the defensive play of the game for Waynesboro thus far, takes a strike. As Worley, really only 3 or 4 seconds in between pitches, it's another strike, and assuming he finishes this inning, he would be eligible for the win, which is probably why he's out there for the 5th, as now he kicks, delivers, and that one fouled out of play by Ross.
Yeah, going back to Worley's tempo, they say behind the dish, if your pitcher's throwing well, get that ball back to him as soon as possible. Whatever he's doing it right, so keep it that way.
Kind of like the hurry-up offense. If you have the defense in football on their heels, you want to keep the plays coming as quickly as possible. As Worley had to hold up there as the umpire gave him a new ball from the foul ball, so he couldn't work as quickly as he'd like, and he misses with that one downstairs.
And once again, the check swing goes down to first base, and as I said earlier, tough to get that call, and that'll be ball 1 for the batter Ross, but Worley 1 strike away from a beautiful 5 shutout innings of work here at Crutchfield Park.
Outfield playing straight away. The kick, the delivery, that one upstairs, and Ross ducked, but that one was even over his head.
Yeah, a little bit of lack of control there. Maybe the slow pace, as we mentioned, he was going so fast and having to slow down because of the pass ball.
2-2 as Ross hits that one right back up the middle on a line for a 2-out single. And Waynesboro now with the middle of the order coming up. They've been doing this all game. They've been scratching, getting runners on, especially with 2 outs. They've just been unable to bring anybody around.
Yeah, they did it back in the first. First 2 guys struck out, and then they got 2 guys across. And then last inning in the 4th, 2 guys out, and then brought 2 runners across. So a little bit of a theme coming out here at Crutchfield Park today, but so far we've always been able to work out of all these jams.
I'll bring up Zach Levinson, the cleanup hitter, and the right fielder, who takes a strike to start.
All right, 32 for us and 16 for them.
Levinson singled his first time at the plate. and then popped out to short center where that ball was handled by the second baseman, Izard, as he hits this one a mile in the air, deep left field. If it's fair, it's gone, and it's off the light pole and back onto the field, and that's going to be a home run for the Generals. And just like that, the lead is down to 1 at 3-2.
Yeah, great swing there on that pitch there by Levinson, and as soon as that one was off the bat, you called it. If it's fair, it's gone, and that one hit off the light pole. Definitely a home run there for the Generals, and now they're right back in this game.
And that's what the damage can do with a 2-out base hit. You know, a lot of times you don't think a lot of it because you think you're going to get the next batter out, but that's the alternative there. And right with one swing, Waynesboro's back in this ball game with Figueiredo up at the plate.
Yeah, Figueiredo hasn't had great success so far in this game, 0 for 2, but looking to keep this inning alive here for the Generals.
Fouls the first pitch off. It's 0-1 as Overton continues to throw for the Tom Sox in the bullpen over on the right field side. There is action in the Generals bullpen as well. It's a left-hander. I can't quite make out who it is from where I am. I'm told that it is Mason Miller out of Odessa, Florida. As that pitch, a ball in the dirt, 1-1. As that one fouled out again by Figueiredo, and it's 1-2 now. And deja vu, the Tom Sox 1 strike away from getting out of the inning, but that's been a struggle.
Yeah, for Worley back with that last batter, or Jackson Ross was at bat when he had 2 strikes, 2 outs on him, and unable to get that third pitch, which ultimately led to the 2-run home run. So if you're Worley here, you got to get this guy out here.
And he does. Called third strike at the numbers. And the Tom Sox do get out of the inning with the lead, but a monster 2-run home run from cleanup man Zach Levinson brings the Generals within a run at 3-2. Tom Sox coming up for the bottom of the 5th next. You're listening to Tom Sox Baseball. To the bottom of the 5th we go. 3-2 Tom Sox in front, and Waynesboro finally touching the scoreboard on a 2-run home run from Zach Levinson as Louie was out there dancing with some of the players. And Dylan, we were just talking about this. I don't know how many parks you've been to yet, but I don't know if we've seen mascots at any other ones.
No, I think I've been to about 5 or 6 now at this point. Beautiful, or most of them beautiful, I should say. But I think Louie is my favorite mascot that I've seen so far, and I do think he is the only mascot I've seen so far, so he easily wins the title of my favorite.
Of course, they don't reveal who dons the suit until the end of the year, as Wyatt Langford digs in, as the Tom Sox have 3, 4, and 5, and things were going pretty well if you looked at just the scoreboard, but those couple runs by the Generals in the top of the 5th were in the making.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming for the Generals. They've threatened a couple of times, as we've mentioned, but never able to bring any across. And funnily, that inning, it wasn't, a couple hits in a row. It was just a 2-run blast, and definitely was a blast at that, to bring the game within 1 here.
Langford ahead in the count now, 2-0. He's out of Florida. Candelaria is on deck. Cal Stark is in the hole, and If anyone gets on, Garrett Spikes would bat this inning, and that one called a strike over the outside corner, 2-1.
Yeah, and Langford 1 for 2 so far. He grounded out in the first, but he did get a single, a stolen base, and then brought in a run of his own back in the third to kickstart the rally back in the third.
That one fouled out of play. And now the count even 2-2 is a good response here by Logan Clayton, who has been touched up for 3 runs.
But as we mentioned earlier, the run last inning was off of 0 hits, just 3 walks. So if he's able to bring that control back in check, maybe he can throw a couple more successful innings.
Strike 3 called at the knees to Langford, who did not like that call, but right on the border of the strike zone, and there's 1 away. And a lot of hitting, Dylan, is not only knowing how to hit each pitch, but knowing when each pitch is coming.
Yeah, I mean, that's why, personally, I know it's a saying, but I personally believe hitting is the hardest thing to do in all of sports. I know that might be a little bit contentious, but when this guy's throwing upper 80s and then he also has a slider or curveball, you don't know what's coming at you.
Candelaria now digs in out of Davidson, fouls out of play the first pitch.
You know, the funny thing about baseball is if you succeed 30% of the times that you get up to bat, you're one of the Hall of Famers. Not too many sports where you can only, you can fail 70% of the time and still be considered one of the all-time greats.
That and meteorology. As that one stays off the plate, 1-1. That just makes what Ted Williams was able to do that much more impressive.
But I would love to see Ted Williams predict what's going to happen tonight as these clouds come across. So.
Temperatures cooled off just a little bit as another foul ball out of play makes the count 1-2. And we were talking about mascots a few minutes ago, and whoever puts that Louis costume on is, as they say, the real MVP.
No, that is a very brave person behind that costume. Whoever it is, they do a fantastic job. Have done a fantastic job here at the Crutch, bringing some fans and children into the great atmosphere that they have here in Charlottesville.
The 1-2 to Candelaria. He spoils a really good-looking pitch and fouls it out of play again. And I had my order mixed up. Garrett Spikes is on deck. Cal Stark would be the 4th batter of the inning if it gets that far. The 1-2 to Candelaria is up and in for a ball, 2-2. Tom Sox scored 2 in the 3rd, 1 in the 4th. Generals got 2 of them back on a mammoth home run from Zach Levinson, which if it hadn't hit the light post might still be carrying. As the 2-2 to Candelaria misses upstairs.
And as we mentioned, Carter Cena still at the dish, had a couple of pass balls last inning, but a great frame job there. Unable to get the call, but one thing we've noticed time and time again is he does a great job with that so far.
And the 3-2 is upstairs again. And the Tom Sox have a 1-out base runner. Matt Steinbeiser, by the way, who came in to pinch hit for Huggins, has assumed Huggins' position at actually, pardon me. It looks like Will Prater is now in there, number 9 for the Generals. Spikes now digs in. And he fouls that one toward the Tom Sox dugout, 0-1. And what's interesting there, I thought I saw a left-handed second baseman, but he was just holding his glove in his right hand. As the 0-1 to Spikes is hit on the screws, deep center field with some carry, track, wall, and that ball is gone. Garrett Spikes, for the second day in a row, has left the yard in front of his family, and the Tom Sox leave 5-2.
Yeah, I think if you're the Tom Sox staff here, you got to do something to keep Garrett Spikes' family here in Charlottesville, because he had an absolute nuke last night and a beautiful home run there to dead center to bring the Tom Sox back ahead by 3 runs here in the bottom of the 5th.
So the Generals throw a haymaker in the top of the 5th. The Tom Sox counter it in the form of Garrett Spikes, and with 1 away and the base is empty here in the bottom of the 5th, it's 5-2.
Yeah, and what was once a low-scoring game is now going to a power duel. The home run derby is coming a little bit early to Crutchfield Park as the Tom Sox and Generals have gone back-to-back in the 5th inning, and let's see Cal Stark, also known for his home run power, potentially he can hit one out of here and bring the lead even more for the Tom Sox.
Time called now by Zach Cole, the Generals manager. Generals have a left-hander in the bullpen. I wonder if this will be the call to the bullpen.
No signal yet from the coach making, let's see, look towards the bullpen. And it looks like he may have signaled to the pen. And
Yeah,
he's taking the ball
he
from
will
the center.
take the ball, and that will end the day for the starter, Logan Clayton, who, well, we'll be honest, Waynesboro took a risk throwing him back out there for the fifth inning, and it didn't pay off as 2 runs across now for the Tom Sox on the Garrett Spikes home run, and a 5-2 lead, the margin right back to where it was at 3 runs. And now for the Generals, we will see Mason Miller, who is a left-handed pitcher out of Odessa, Florida. He plays at Florida Gulf Coast and is a teammate of the first baseman, Alejandro Figueiredo. So we will see our first relief pitcher of tonight's ball game.
Yeah, and Mason Miller, like you said, for the Generals, 2-0 this year, but his ERA would not reflect that. 7.4 ERA so far in 7 games, pitched 9.2 innings, and the final line for Logan Clayton is 4 1/3 innings, only 5 hits, 5 runs, all of them earned, 4 walks, 6 strikeouts, and 2 hit by pitches.
And not on his line are those passed balls, that one of which allowed Cole Foster, a gimpy Cole Foster, who, by the way, is still in the game, and he's got a helmet on. He would bat after Stark. Actually, he's guaranteed to bat this inning now because there's 1 out and nobody on. So after Stark, we'll see Foster, and it actually looks like he is moving a little bit better than he was.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, as soon as, the instant impact of that hit shocks you. If you're Cole Foster, taking some time to run around the bases, it was good to see him run around the bases, or jog, we should say, around the bases, and, having an extra inning in the field to kind of stretch it out, warm it up, and it looks like he's doing well here, which is always great to see.
Well, they say chicks dig the long ball, but they also dig scars, too, for if you've seen The Replacements. So Foster, I'd imagine, is going to have a pretty cool-looking bruise on that leg.
I wouldn't say the coolest place to get a bruise because, not, a bigger part, obviously, in the chest, or not the chest, goodness, but in the arm, obviously, is a nice place to have a bruise if you're going to have one, I should say. But Cole Foster, great job staying in this game, and like we said, he will have a chance in this inning to bring home potentially another Tom Sox run.
First things first, Cal Stark will get the first crack at this relief pitcher for the Generals, Mason Miller. And actually interesting that Waynesboro brought in a lefty to face the right-handed hitter, but I think that's trumped just by the fact that Clayton was out of gas.
Yeah, like we said earlier, they didn't bring anyone into the bullpen until pretty late into Clayton's start. He'd already given up a couple of runs, so at this point you're not looking matchup, you're just looking for someone who can get you out of this inning.
Cal Stark out of Weatherford College. Lefty on righty matchup, and Stark takes a strike at the knees. He has struck out looking twice.
Yes, trying to avoid the hat trick so far here in Charlottesville.
And not the good kind of hat trick that you get if you're a soccer or a hockey player, as he takes a ball down at the feet, and it's 1-1. Swing and a miss on that fastball, strike 2. And
one thing I've noticed so far from Stark since joining the Tom Sox is he is prone to the strikeout. He's played in 13 games, had 34 plate appearances, and already has 14 strikeouts, so almost over a third, I should say, of his at-bats end with him walking back to the dugout.
We call that feast or famine, and it's up and in, 2-2. We've seen Stark hit one out of this ballpark this season. Not an easy thing to do.
Yet we say that, and we've had 2 home runs in the past inning.
And another strikeout for Cal Stark, goes down swinging on a 2-2 fastball, and now the base is empty with 2 away for Cole Foster, whose leg looks to be back to normal.
As we mentioned, Cole Foster, the only switch hitter in the Tom Sox lineup, Tom Sox roster, I should say. So last at bat was facing the right-hander Clayton from the left side of the plate. Now with Mason Miller up, he's going to bat from the right side of the dish.
And actually, Eddie Eisert, who's the on-deck batter, he's not listed on the roster yet because he just got here. He is also warming up to bat from the right-hand side. So we have 2 switch hitters on the roster now as Foster looks at a ball. I actually did not know that until I saw it with my own eyes. So We'll see if Isert can get to the plate. It'll be up to Foster to bring him there as Miller delivers, and this one is in all likelihood going to end the inning as it's high in the air to right field, but not deep, and making the catch is Levinson. And I believe that, yeah, that is the third out of the inning. Stark struck out and the fly out there. So that will do it for the bottom of the fifth. But the Tom Sox strike a big blow. Garrett spikes a 2-run homer to dead center field, and it's 5-2 through 5 complete. You're listening to Tom Sox Baseball. Defensive substitutions for the Tom Sox here in the top of the sixth inning. Garrett Spikes, following that home run, has been lifted. Trevor Candelaria moves over to right field, and taking Spikes' place in the batting order will be Jack Hurley out of Virginia Tech. And a new pitcher, Dylan, for the Tom Sox, and Noah Overton, the left-hander.
Yeah, Overton coming out of North Carolina, Wilmington. And with the Tom Sox so far has appeared in 8 games, only 2 of them starts, and 18 strikeouts in just 13 innings.
Lefty-on-lefty matchup as he begins the game by throwing a ball, or begins his game by throwing a ball to Connor Cena. 5-2 Tom Sox in the top of the sixth. Cena, the catcher, takes a strike at the letters, and it's 1-1.
Yeah, interesting choice there by Coach Corey Kohler to take Spikes out after that beautiful home run to dead center, but I guess now with the 3-run lead, you're looking for a defensive lineup.
That one off the plate for a ball. And a lot of times, you come in with a plan. Maybe he told Garrett, hey, I'm going to put you in for the first 5 innings, and then I'm going to lift you. Or maybe he just wanted Spikes to be able to finish on that home run as the 2-1 is right down the middle for a strike.
Yeah, I will say a 2-run home run is a great way to end your day. And Hurley, he's not a bad hitter himself. Has done a great job with the Tom Sox since coming over this past weekend, batting .267. I know he's already had multiple 2-hit games and very speedy on the base paths out of Tech. Overton
steams in a fastball. That one is turned around on the ground to second base, and fumbling it for a moment, but recovering to make the play is Eddie Isert. 4-3 on the putout, 1 down.
Standing for Waynesboro center fielder number 21, Max Weller.
Now to bring up Max Weller, the center fielder. He's out of Valparaiso, Indiana. Hometown of one of my favorite sportscasters, actually, Adam Amin, who has just broken onto MLB and NFL coverage on Fox, which I was glad to see. And he holds up, and the first pitch is called a ball.
Good check swing there to hold up there by Weller. And if you're Overton on the mound here, you got a nice lead, but as we saw last inning, that lead can disappear in an instant.
This one's hit well into left center field. Coming over, a test for the new center fielder Hurley, and he passes with flying colors as he makes the grab 2 away.
Yeah, one thing I've seen so far from Hurley in his first few games with the Sox, very speedy. Back when we were in Waynesboro last week, had 3 stolen bases in just 2 innings and 2 at-bats. So great speed out there, and that's exactly what you want out of your center fielder.
And 2 away here in the 6th inning, and the scoreless 6th inning promotion, 1 out away from taking or excuse me, coming to fruition as Tom Sox this year have partnered with a local business for the 6th inning. If they hold the opponent scoreless, everybody wins. First pitch called a ball, and the second called a strike as we saw Worley working fast and Overton working just as quickly now on a 1-1 count. He kicks, he fires, and a swing and a miss for strike 2.
Beautiful pitch there by Overton, having Grezik swing and a miss there. So let's see if he can get one more, and then Tom Sox come back in the bottom of the 6th, hopefully add some insurance here.
The kick, the delivery, the 1-2, and that one is fouled out of play toward the school building. And now we creep kind of toward our normal start time, 7 o'clock. It's 6:50 right now, as we'll kind of see those shadows become a factor as the game goes on. Another 1-2 from Overton. That one is on the ground to first, and it is picked up by Langford, and he will take it himself for out number 3. No runs, no hits, no errors. 1-2-3 go. The Waynesboro Generals in the top of the 6th. 5-2 Tom Sox. You're listening to Tom Sox Baseball. Tom Sox ahead 5-2 after a very quick top of the 6th inning and a impressive performance from Noah Overton, setting the Generals down 1-2-3. And now the Tom Sox will have 8, 9, and 1 coming to the plate. Isert, Guidry, and Ebel, barring any substitutions. They will face Mason Miller in his 2nd inning of work. And the Tom Sox, good resilience there following the home run by Levinson in the 5th. They get a home run of their own, and then the pitching comes back to be the star of the 6th inning.
Yeah, as we said, that was a star for the start of the game. Great job on the mound by the 2 starters, and now the Tom Sox just looking to add some insurance here in the bottom of the 6th.
So here's Isert, who, as we mentioned, is the 2nd switch hitter to join this team after Foster. And he fouls the first pitch off 0-1. Isert has been on base both times at the plate thus far. He's singled and has a walk. And now he is behind in the count quickly, 0-2, as he was part of that merry-go-round on the base pass that was aided by walks and wild pitches, or pass balls, I should say.
Yeah, he scored back in the 3rd for the first run of the game on a single by Logan Amos.
And he hits that one down to first. It'll be an easy scoop for Figueredo, and he steps on the bag just like Wyatt Langford did to end the top of the inning for the first out here in the bottom of the inning.
That'll bring Cam Guidry to the plate, who, once again, has yet to get a hit so far, but has reached base, advanced on a walk, one of those 3 walks that we mentioned back in the 4th, where the Tom Sox scored a run. So looking to get his first hit of the game here and hopefully add some more runs.
Guidry takes a ball to start. He's a guy that if he gets on base, you definitely have to keep an eye on him for stolen bases, as that one is upstairs 2-0, and right now it's a hitter's count.
And as we mentioned earlier, these Tom Sox are one of the fastest and most stolen base prone teams in the league. 78 stolen bases through just 25 games so far coming into today.
Guidry takes a massive cut and can't catch up to that one. 2-1. You saw his head kind of move out of the box before he made the swing, which is the reason he missed that one, even though it was right down the middle. And this time he makes contact, hustles down the line, but it's a routine grounder to short, and 6-3 on the putout as Sean Ross guns it over to Figueredo, and quickly now 2 away.
Yeah, for the general defense there, ground ball does not guarantee an out with the speedy Cam Guidry at the dish, but good play there by by Sean Ross, one of the two Ross players on this lineup, to get the second out of the inning.
Garrett Gable now to the plate. Leadoff hitter for the Tom Sox here in the fourth inning, but he's already getting his fourth at-bat, as that one is upstairs. Gable, the catcher, I would say he's probably done the most catching for the Tom Sox this year, at least in the games I've seen. The 1-0 is in the dirt, 2-0. He's also played at first base, and I think he can also play third.
Yeah, he's played a little bit around the dish. He was the primary, or him and Ryan Dial traded off most of the starts behind the dish, but then he got hurt back in Harrisonburg, took a pitch to the chest, and missed a few games, but now back to action, which all the Tom Sox fans are happy to see.
He hits this one in the air, right side, foul territory. Figueredo gives chase, and it smacks off the top of the batting cage.
And Gable's day so far is pretty characteristic of what the Tom Sox lineup has done. He does not have a hit yet, but has been on base twice. He was hit by a pitch in the third off his shoulder, and then walked in the fourth, and he scored a run. He was a second run back in that third inning.
The 2-1, curveball, and that one just missed.
Yeah, beautiful pitch there on the mound by Miller. I don't know where that one missed exactly, but Garrett Gable sure likes the call.
And now he's got a hitter's count at 3-1, and Miller also working quickly now as Gable gets into this one. It's high, but it's foul, out of play left side.
One thing that always worries me about the Crutch is how close all these cars are. A few days ago, there was a car that actually got struck by a foul ball, and that's always my biggest worry. But all the fans who often come to the games know to park their cars far away from the field.
The number one rule of coming to watch baseball, I would say, is on a 3-2 pitch, it stays down and away, and the Tom Sox have a two-out base runner due to a walk.
And that's Garrett Gable's third time on base, but he has yet to get a hit so far. Struck out in the first, and then hit by pitch in the third, walk in the fourth, and now another walk here in the sixth.
So his on-base percentage looking awesome. His average, not so much, at least for this game, as Logan Amos, who's been one of the top performers at the plate thus far for the Tom Sox, will dig in now with a runner on first and 2 away. Lefty on lefty matchup. Amos looks at a strike.
Yeah, as you mentioned earlier, Logan Amos was one half of the Logan versus Logan matchup that we had for the first few at-bats. Now going up against a lefty, which in my opinion is the toughest matchup to do as a hitter. But Amos had a good day so far, already an RBI and 2 hits. He'll look to do even more here in the sixth.
Pickoff throw to first, not in time to nab Gable. As Gable dancing off that bag there. You wouldn't think a catcher is somebody who will try and steal a base, as that one is sent foul on the ground toward the Waynesboro dugout, but that hasn't stopped Corey Kohler to this point.
No, and as we mentioned, Garrett Gable is not the stereotypical big, brunty catcher. He's, as we said, has played first and third, which obviously are not the most agile positions, but he knows how to move his feet when he needs to.
Amos behind in the count, 0-2 now with 2 away. And right on cue, Gable takes off. The pitch is a curveball upstairs, and he will get there and not even have to slide.
Yeah, a little bit of a close play there. I'm surprised he didn't even slide. Obviously, the throw was a little high there by Cena. Garrett Gable's in there with a standing stolen base.
And now a runner in scoring position for Amos, who's driven in a run with a single. The 1-2, that one is sprayed into left field down the line. It's going to stay fair, and this will get all the way to the wall. Amos has his second double of the game, and Garrett Gable touches home plate, and the Tom Sox make some noise with 2 away here in the sixth. It's 6-2.
Yeah, great at-bat there by Logan Amos. And one thing that's plagued baseball recently is players just being dead pull hitters. And Logan Amos there not doing too much, getting the outside pitch and just rolling with it and slapping it to left field, just dropping it fair for his second RBI of the day, his second double of the day. Now the Tom Sox are ahead 6-2.
Dylan, I'm going to put you on the spot here. Which New York Met did he look like swinging the bat there?
Ooh, goodness gracious. I'm trying to think who's it.
I'll give you a pitch to think about it as Wyatt Langford digs in. Tom Sox ahead now 6-2. They've scored the last 3 runs of the ball game after a 2-run home run by Waynesboro's Zach Levinson, as the runner now takes off for third, and the pitch bounced in front of the catcher and wound up halfway up the third baseline.
All right, I got my guess. It might be this may be a little bit of recency bias, but the Squirrel Jeff McNeil is known for slap base hits. One of those guys who's going to bat almost 300 or above 300 he has in his career. So one of my favorite players and a really solid pickup for them over the past few years.
Langford ahead in the count 1-0 following that pitch in the dirt. And they will credit Amos with a stolen base on that one because he had already taken off. So rack up another one for the Tom Sox as the 1-0 to Langford on the way, and that one stays inside too. Now, much like many of these innings have been, 2 quick outs, and then all the fireworks follow after that.
No pun intended. Actually, pun intended.
The 2-0. That one is called a strike.
Great pitch there by Miller, right on the outside corner there at the top of the zone.
And I'd be Julian if I said I hadn't planned that one.
Oh, oof, that's a bit of a stretch there. I don't know, but I appreciate the creativity.
I am my own best audience, in case you hadn't noticed. That one is sent right back through the gap between first and second, and that is going to bring another run home as Amos trots across the plate. Now Wyatt Langford gets into the act as he fist pounds the first base coach, Seth Dvorak, and it's 7-2 Tom Sox.
Yeah, great. Another great at-bat there, and like I said before, slapping the ball where it's pitched to the opposite field, and great job bringing home the second Tom Sox run of the inning. And as we mentioned, the Tom Sox are known for having big innings. They've scored multiple runs. They've scored 64 innings they've scored before, and 41 of those they scored more than 1 run, which is incredible as a team.
Now Candelaria, if you're wondering, there's nobody in the Waynesboro bullpen as the runner takes off, and that one gets by the catcher, and Langford actually slid that time. He didn't have to, but he didn't know he didn't have to. And now, a visit now from the catcher, Cena, up to Miller, as we may be having some communication issues between these two, given all these balls that end up in the dirt.
Yeah, it looked like he kind of just got crossed up over there. Once again, an outside pitch that just nicks off the edge of his glove. And luckily there was no one on third there for Miller and Cena. But once again, the Tom Sox threaten. And if we've learned anything so far in this game, just because you got 2 outs does not mean you are out of the inning just yet.
So Miller will collect himself now. He'll come set, facing Candelaria. Both these guys have hair coming out of their hats. As that one called a strike.
And Candelaria, one of the better Tom Sox hitters, definitely known for his clutch ability, has yet to get his first hit today. Once again, has 0 for 2 and a walk, scored on that walk, but looking to bring home the 3rd run of the inning here in the 6th.
1-1 is on the ground, back up the middle, ranging over and making the scoop and throwing it over to first is the new second baseman, Will Prater, who came in a couple innings ago, and over to Figueredo for the out. So the Tom Sox are retired, but not before they put 2 more on the board. It's 7-2. We go to the 7th. You're listening to Tom Sox Baseball. To the 7th we go, and Noah Overton heads back out to the mound for the Tom Sox with a little bit more of a cushion than he did for his first inning of work, as Charlottesville did it with the long ball in the 5th, did it with small ball in the 6th.
Yeah, as we mentioned before, earlier in the game, pitching with any sort of lead is nice. Gives you a little more room, a little bit more room to be experimental, but a 5-run lead here is more than any Tom Sox pitcher's had so far today.
Alex Arauz, the third baseman, toes the batter's box and fouls the first pitch off toward his own dugout, 0-1. Will Prater is on deck for the Generals. He came into second base after Steinbeiser pinch hit for Aiden Huggins. And another foul ball. It's an 0-2 count.
Ian Prater busy back there with all these foul balls back to the Generals' dugout. No Overton making quick work so far of Arauz. Let's see if he can get him out here for the first out of the 7th.
Arauz had a good game at the plate on Friday, and he hits this one right on the screws, but it's directly at Logan Amos, the left fielder, and there's one away.
Yeah, great contact there out of Arauz, but as you mentioned, just directly at the left fielder, Amos there, and not much you can do about that one except tip your cap to him and hope for better in your next at bat.
So that'll turn the lineup over for Waynesboro as Prater comes to the plate. He's from Dallas, Georgia, and plays at Western Carolina in the mountains in Cullowhee, North Carolina. Always thought it was interesting how it's Western Carolina but East Carolina. Those two universities on the opposite side of the Tar Heel State.
Great pitch there by Overton, getting that one right over the plate. Looked like a slider. And Prater this year for the Generals batting .250, only had 48 at-bats, which is right about middle of the line.
Same pitch, same result for Overton. Why not? As he hits the top of the zone again, 0-2.
As they say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, especially on the mound.
And that one is swung on and missed. It gets by the catcher, Ebel. The batter, Prater, took a second to recognize that, and because of that, he's thrown out at first. If he had recognized that at the beginning, he's probably safe.
Yeah, no, great job by Garrett Gable to hustle over to it, and as you mentioned, Prater not aware, saw the umpire throw his hands up and saw the ball, but did it just a little bit too late, and Ebel able to make the play. A little bit of a high throw there, but just in time and, not too high. For the first baseman to not be able to make the play.
And you also saw the catcher Ebel take a second because he might have thought that was a foul tip. But the first pitch to Sean Ross is up and away. In any case, 2 outs, nobody on. And the Generals running out of outs here. Things are getting late early, as they say.
Yeah, and the Generals, as we've mentioned, they've played really well against Charlottesville both this season and in the recent past.
That one in the dirt, a 58-footer. Yeah, up until Friday's game, Waynesboro had won 6 straight against Charlottesville, regardless of the location. And the Tom Sox, to that point, have never won on July 4th. The 2-0 called a strike.
So as we said, the Tom Sox broke their 0-6 streak against the Generals on Friday, and on Sunday looking to break the 0-4 streak on July 4th.
2-1 downstairs for a ball. And I know we played Purcellville yesterday for 2 games. It almost has a MLB feel. You play 3 games against the same team in such a short span.
You're very interesting, it's very good because you get to, recognize the same guys. Me just watching the game, I've gotten to know both teams' hitters a little bit better and the pitching staff, so.
Swing and a miss by Ross on the 3-1. Fastball downstairs, and he went fishing and missed. Jackson Ross would be on deck. Well, he is on deck. He would be next if this inning continues as Overton throws that one in there real quickly, and it's downstairs for ball 4. So at the risk of sounding like a broken record, we have another 2-out base runner.
Yeah, and luckily for the Tom Sox, they've been able to do a good enough job on the offensive end to where, they're giving their a little bit of a cushion here to Overton, but like we said, as past couple innings, a couple of 2-out base runners, which 9 times out of 10 you can do a good job of escaping the jam, but last inning did not do a great job. In the 5th, did not do a great job of doing that.
Jackson Ross to the plate, and the man who hit the home run, Zach Levinson, stands on deck, so important to get this man out if you're the Tom Sox, and they start with a strike at the letters.
Yeah, if you're Overton, you need to get this guy out here. You cannot allow Zach Levinson to come up to the plate with 2 guys on.
The 0-1. Overton misses downstairs.
Seems like he missed a couple of the last pitches downstairs, a lot of them in the dirt. Probably trying to get some swing and miss stuff here, but the Generals are not biting so far.
This crowd has remained as the temperature has dropped a little bit, and just as we speak, that ball comes inside, bounces, and hits Jackson Ross. So now you've got 2 men on for the guy who has provided all of the Generals' offense today, Zach Levinson, on that 2-run home run. Now we've got time called by the Tom Sox dugout. Out comes John Maley for a chat. Maley, known for his quick mound visits,
All right, fans.
Yeah, in a situation like this, luckily you got two, and as we mentioned that, he's already gone. You already got 2 outs in the inning, so you're just looking to get 1 more, but as we said, Levinson, a very dangerous hitter, so you cannot take him for granted, even though there's 2 gone in the inning.
0-0-6-8.
Obviously, you don't want to give up anything if you're the Tom Sox, but the corollary to that is you are up by 5, so even if he hits this ball 700 feet,
Yes,
you have a multi-run lead.
Yeah, that's what was nice about their 6th inning is now, even if this ball is gone, they're still ahead by a couple.
And this one's not going to get out of the yard, but it's going to be looped into left field for a single, and that's going to get a run home as the Generals not dead yet. They keep scratching with 2 outs, and it's 7-3 now here in the top of the 7th.
Yeah, for the Tom Sox, as we've mentioned, the 2-out hitting, great approach there by the Generals and specifically by Zach Levinson, already with 3 RBIs in the day, scored all 3 of the Generals' runs, so they know, the Tom Sox know who they need to get out the rest of this game.
Alejandro Figueiredo digs in. He's 0 for 3 today, but still a dangerous man with the bat, especially against a left-handed pitcher. Overton comes set, looks over to first. There's nobody holding on either of the runners, and it's called a strike at the knees.
Yeah, if you're the Tom Sox staff, obviously this is kind of the guy right now that you want to be seeing. 0 for 3, but all those 3 at-bats were against the right-hander Worley. So this is his first at-bat against the opposing side with the left-hander here, on the mound.
That pitch bounces in the dirt for a ball. And we've got Preston Allen warming up in the bullpen for the Tom Sox, a right-hander out of Coastal Bend College, which is not far from where Corey Kohler himself coaches at San Jacinto. 1-1 count. Run already in here in this inning for Waynesboro as Figueiredo pops this one a mile in the air. It's in foul territory, Does Ebel have room? Yes, he does, and he makes the grab to end the inning. So Figueiredo bummed out on that one, but the Tom Sox get out of it after giving up 1 run here with 2 outs, and the score is 7-3 as we go to stretch. You're listening to Tom Sox Baseball. We have stretched. We have moved to the bottom of the 7th here on this Independence Day at Crutchfield Park. Luke Nadkarni, Dylan Castaigne bringing you this one, and it's 7-3 Tom Sox here in the bottom of the 7th inning. And Waynesboro, to their credit, not giving up after falling down with 2 outs and the bases empty in a 7-2 ball game, scratching across a run and maybe making the Tom Sox think a little bit.
Yeah, like we said, that big cushion's going to come up clutch here for the Sox so far. Like you said, they had a couple guys threatening, but on the mound, you have a lot of runs to work with. And if you remember earlier, I mentioned in games that the Tom Sox win, they're averaging 7.1 runs per game. So don't want to jinx anything so far, but they need those high-scoring games to win, or they tend to have high-scoring games when they win, and it's looking like that so far here at the Crutch.
Leading off for the Tom Sox is going to be Jack Hurley, who came into the game in Garrett Spikes' spot.
Yeah, so this is his first at-bat of the day, but Hurley already having a great season so far with the Tom Sox, batting .267, and only batted 15 times, but already has 2 RBIs and 4 stolen bases.
Hurley out of Virginia Tech, one of 4 Hokies on this team. That is the maximum you can have from a single school here in the Valley League, as Mason Miller continues to deal for the Generals, and he misses inside. There's another pinch hitter on deck, by the way, for the Tom Sox, as Adam Cesiri is in the circle now in the spot of Cal Stark, as a swing and a miss by Hurley, and it's 1-1.
Yeah, and back to Hurley. What I've heard, both just observing him and then from the Tech team, is that he's very aggressive at the plate, and he takes that aggressiveness with him on the base paths. 2 hardy cuts so far, so looks like he's living up to his reputation.
Yeah, another fastball there from Miller, and it's 1-2. And now these Waynesboro pitchers have the responsibility of keeping the Tom Sox at 7 so their bats can stay within shouting distance. The 1-2 to Hurley. Beautiful pitch on the outside corner, called third strike, and there's one away.
Yeah, great job dotting the corner there by Miller to get the first out of the inning. And like we said time and time again, you know, with 2 strikes, you got to be a little more aware of the strike zone, especially with the umpiring crew we have today. Got to expand that zone a little bit. And Hurley yet to make an at-bat in this game, so he's not too accustomed to the strike zone.
So Cal Stark's afternoon is finished, and Adam Cesiri out of Wake Forest University will step up to the plate, lefty on lefty matchup, and that one is fouled back.
And I was about to say he's also off to a good start along with Hurley, but matter of fact, they have the same amount of at-bats and the exact same batting average, so doing pretty good job so far here in Charlottesville.
Cesiri, who plays his college ball in one of the greatest cities in the world, Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
No bias there.
The 0-1 is right off the small of his back, and another hit by pitch. I think that between the teams, we've got, 4 or 5 hit by pitches here this afternoon.
Yeah, I think that might be 4 right there, and obviously if you're the Tom Sox, well, if you're the Tom Sox team, you're a little happy with that. If you're the Tom Sox hitter who's getting hit, maybe not too appreciative of that pitch right down at right on your spine, but looks like he's able to walk it off and ready to run the bases.
So Cole Foster comes up again for his second at-bat against Miller. I believe he was the first person to face Miller when Miller came into the game, so batting right-handed for the second time. And the pickoff throw to first is not in time. They keep the runner honest. Foster out of Auburn. His college coach is Butch Thompson, who has been an assistant at Georgia. The 0-0 pitch. He squares to bunt. He pulls back. It's a ball. They snap throw back to first. And he's safe.
Yeah, and Figueiredo, the first baseman, a little bit in the way there as Cesiri tried to get back to the bag, but able to slide in to stay on first here. And
the crowd's only gotten bigger as the game's gone along. About twice as many people out down the left field line as there were at the beginning, as this one is high in the air. As Foster throws his bat angrily, it's in fair territory. So, I mean, he's got to run it out, and the catch is made, but the Generals were thinking there as Prater bags it for the out number 1. They could have let that one drop and turned a double play because there was no infield fly in effect, and Foster didn't even bother running to first base.
Yeah, Foster obviously frustrated. Has yet to get a hit today. That's his 3rd out. Was hit by a pitch back in the 4th. Remember, he was hit on the leg that he had to shake off a little bit. So a little bit of frustration there, but he took it out with his poor base running, I should say.
So here's Eddie Eisert out of North Carolina State. His college teammate Garrett Payne is also a member of the Tom Sox, a pitcher. And he's up in the count 1-0. Eisert has gotten a single, he's walked, and he's grounded out to first base. So 1 for 3 officially, 2 for 3 in terms of getting on base.
Yeah, and he was the runner who scored the first run of the game way back in the 3rd inning.
Swings and misses at that one. He looked like he was trying to hit that one all the way back to Raleigh, and the count's 1-1.
Yeah, aggressive swing there by Eisert. You know, obviously you got a 4-run lead here, but in the Valley Baseball League, you can never have enough insurance. So trying to bring home a couple runs here in the later innings to help out the Tom Sox pitching staff.
Runner takes off, pitches high, called a ball, and sliding in safely is Cesiri. Actually, a nice job there by the second baseman Prater to glove that and almost get the tag down behind his back and across his body, but the runner was already there.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of a Javier Baez type play where the throw was way over to the second base side of the bag, but still able to make a drag tag as he caught the ball, but unable to get him on the back foot. So that'll be a stolen base for Cesiri.
So Eisert with a chance to drive in a run after Waynesboro plated one in the top of the 7th. He's up in the count, 2-1. Miller looks back. Now he delivers, and that one is off the fists, foul out of play.
Foul ball was sponsored by the Newhouse Company.
Now the Tom Sox have another runner in scoring position for Iser. Does not have an RBI yet today, but prime opportunity here. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs.
Tom Sox have scored 2 runs in 3 of the last 4 innings, but in danger of not scoring for the first time since the second. The kick, the delivery, and Isert spoils it again. Good job to Hank Tuff.
Yeah, and we were talking about this game potentially being an extreme pitcher's duel through 2 innings. There were no runs scored, but Tom Sox quickly made us look dumb, scoring 2 runs in every inning except the 4th, where they only scored 1 run, looking to keep that streak alive here in the 7th.
Guidry would be next for the Sox, the 9-hole hitter. As the look back. Now the runner takes off, and they've got him hung up, and that's going to be an easy throw down to third for the 3rd out. So leaving a little bit too soon there was Adam Cesarian. He is erased on the base paths for out number 3. Going to the 8th inning, Tom Sox 7, Generals 3. You're listening to Tom Sox Baseball. Back at Crutchfield Park, Noah Overton back out for inning number 3 as they are jocularly going through the Valley League scoreboard here at Crutchfield Park. We are the only game in town here in the VBL, as is custom on July 4th. The Generals have never lost here on July 4th in Charlottesville and have won 6 of the last 7 against the Tom Sox. But the Tom Sox with a 7-3 lead, looking to get the final 6 outs here, and hopefully they only bat one more time.
Yeah, as the saying goes, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And the Tom Sox were a little slow on offense, picked it up through the middle innings, and now their pitching staff just needs to close out here over the final 2 innings.
Here's Cena, the catcher. He's got home run power. Hit one out of here to right field on Friday, and he fouls off this pitch 0-1.
Yeah, that was his 2nd home run of the season. Has 15 RBIs in just 54 at-bats, and one of the many Generals hitter that is batting above 300.
Lefty-on-lefty matchup as Overton dips in a curveball. That one is a mile in the air, short center. Foster drifting back, and he makes the grab. So good to see Cole Foster back to earth after he's had an interesting game. Got hit really hard in the leg by a pitch and was noticeably affected on the base paths. And we were actually kind of questioning as to whether he would be able to stay in the game, but clearly his leg feels all right. As the first pitch swinging now for the next hitter, Weller, and that one is down into right field for a base hit.
I've received word that Trevor Candelaria has been taken out of the game, and in his place is number 2 for the Tom Sox, Elijah Nunez at a TCU.
Nunez, the man who just fielded that ball in right, and the Generals have a 1-out base runner. So speaking of substitutions, we're going to have a pinch hitter on the Waynesboro side, as it's Stephen Wilmer, who pitched here on Friday. He's also listed as an outfielder, so we assume he's going to come into the game. Well, actually, he's going to be in the DH slot, it looks like, as Rezek's day is done. He is out of also Florida Gulf Coast, so a few guys from that school here on this Waynesboro roster. That one's on the ground to third. Guidry grabs it 5 for the relay to first is way too high, and good job there by Langford to jump up and keep it from going wild. So they do get the fielder's choice and the out at second and Waynesboro keeps a runner on first with 2 away.
Yeah, great job there by Gidget. That was not an easy ball going to his left, making the nice play and getting the throw over there to second. But the throw over to first, not quite in time and a little off the bag, but still, Tom Sox will take the out. Now they got 2 outs here in the 8th.
Here's Arauz, the third baseman. Of course, no error charged on that play, even though it pulled him off the base because you cannot assume the double play, so it goes down as a fielder's choice. As Arauz takes a ball. And he has not enjoyed his Independence Day at this plate to this point. 2 strikeouts. That one is fouled back, and now it's 1-1.
0 for 3 so far here against the Tom Sox. 2 strikeouts, as you mentioned, and a fly out to left field. So, you know, struggled a little bit at the dish today, but looking to kickstart it here in the 8th for the Generals as they look to make a comeback.
The 1-1 is sent right back up the middle, off the hill, and into center field for another base hit. So it's like we're watching the same inning over and over again. Waynesboro with a couple of 2-out base runners.
I know. I feel like we shouldn't even mention at this point because I feel like 5 out of the 7 innings or 8 innings we've played so far, the Generals have gotten 2-out base runners, and luckily for the Tom Sox, the pitching staff has been able to work out of these jams. But if you're Corey Kohler and the Tom Sox coaching staff, that is not what you want to see from your staff today.
So it'll be up to Will Prater for Waynesboro, the Western Carolina Catamount. Lefty on lefty matchup here for Overton as he steps off as the Tom Sox continue to have some action in the bullpen. I believe that's still Preston Allen. As now Overton looks back to second, fires this one, and this is a pop fly, foul territory. Ebel again, and he just runs out of room. That one almost took out one of the cameramen there behind the plate.
Yeah, Ebel, nothing you can do there except to watch it fly by the cameraman as he's prepping there. But Prater, as we mentioned earlier, came in as a sub back in the 6th inning, struck out in the 7th, getting another opportunity here with 2 men on.
I believe that's Preston Willett from CBS 19 who comes out here. Local News does a great job out here covering. We had Madison McNamee of NBC 29 throw out the first pitch as Prater puts that one on the ground to second. Isert up with it over to first in time, and the Tom Sox get out of the inning once again. They strand 2 Waynesboro runners, and it's 7-3 as we go to the bottom of the 8th. Tom Sox hope this is their last at-bat. You're listening to Tom Sox Baseball. Bottom of the 8th here at Crutchfield Park, and we have to admit, the sky has darkened considerably since this game started, and not because the sun has gone down.
Yeah, what started out as a beautiful day here at Crutchfield Park has turned into, I don't know, I looked at the weather app earlier, it said a 0% chance of rain, so that's obviously good, but I have no idea how it says that. The clouds are pretty dark here, obviously going to make a tough job of the fireworks tonight here that will be held in Charlottesville.
And that's all we'll say about that as we go to the bottom of the 8th. Is we're just going to say the weather's going to hold off for the rest of the game.
Yeah. If you're the Tom Sox, you're hoping it holds off for just a little bit longer so you can win this game. Obviously, a great job so far by the Tom Sox. Offense has been great so far. Been able to make some clutch hitting and now lead 7-3 against one of the hardest teams to win against, for them, I should say, in the division.
So Eddie Isert will lead things off for the Sox here in the bottom of the 8th. He was at bat when the runner was picked off of second base last time, and he gets into this one. Hits a towering fly ball deep left, keeping on the run the left fielder Jackson Ross. He pedals back and eventually bags it on the lip of the warning track.
It was not a difficult play there in left field by Ross. A lot easier than the diving play he had to make back earlier in the game, but still, that ball was hit high and deep. It looked like just before the warning track, but a good play there to get the first out.
Tom Sox will make a substitution here as Will Safford comes in to pinch hit for Cam Guidry, so that'll close the book on Guidry, and one SEC player replaces another as Safford out of LSU takes a ball, and then he takes a strike, 1-1.
Yeah, the final line for Cam Guidry will be 0 for 2 with a walk. He struck out in the 3rd and grounded out in the 6th, so tough day for Guidry.
The 1-1, swing and a miss. And it's 1-2 with Ebel on deck. So Corey Kohler getting almost everybody here into the lineup.
Yeah,
obviously, you're not going to be able to use every pitcher as the Miller delivers, and foul tip into the mitt of Cena, and 2 quick outs here in the 8th.
Yeah, if you're the Generals, this is exactly what you want. You can't let the Tom Sox get any more momentum as you try to claw back from this 4-run deficit, which already seems like a lot. But if you're the Generals, you can't let any more runs come across. And if you're Garrett Gable, you're trying to do the exact opposite, bring some even more insurance runs for the Tom Sox pitching staff.
And perhaps this was by design, but the Generals, despite giving up 7 runs here, have only used 2 pitchers. As Ebel digs in for the lefty on righty matchup and swings at the first pitch and hits it high into center field, not deep. Coming on and making the grab is Max Weller, and just like that, the Tom Sox go 1-2-3 in the bottom of the 8th. They are unable to add anything to this 7-3 lead, but they've only got 3 outs to get when we come back. You're listening to Tom Sox Baseball. Top of the 9th upcoming. Noah Overton still on the hill for the Tom Sox, who lead 7-3 on this Independence Day. Tom Sox Baseball is brought to you by Crutchfield Audio, Video, and more since 1974, the official sponsor of Crutchfield Park at Charlottesville High School. And one more time, we'd like to thank Carter Bank and Trust for sponsoring free admission for every fan for every game this season. As Will Safford, who pinch hit for Cam Guidry, stays in the game, he moves to second base, and that'll send Eddie Eisert over to third.
Yeah, if you're the Tom Sox, you're sending in your best defensive lineup that you can, given who you've used so far here in the top of the 9th. They got a big lead, 4 runs, but not insurmountable for the Generals. Obviously, they would need to double the runs that they've scored today, but you're relying here on the pitching staff to get 3 final outs and send the fans home happy.
And it's going to be a difficult part of the order to make that happen, however. It's 2, 3, and 4 for the Generals, and that includes Zach Levinson, who has all 3 of Waynesboro's RBIs today.
Yeah, he hit the 2-run monster home run back in the 5th and then had a single bringing in a run in the 7th. So as you mentioned, he has all 3 RBIs today. So if you're the pitching staff and if you're specifically Noah Overton, you know who that guy is that you need to get out today.
First things first, however, it'll be Sean Ross to start things off. He's a great fielder, has had an okay day at the plate. Actually, he's 0 for 3, but he has walked and scored a run. Swings and misses at that one.
Yeah, he has 1 single back in the 3rd, but 2 strikeouts.
Single, pardon me.
But yeah, he was caught stealing, so erased him essentially as if he didn't even get a hit.
Takes a strike on the outside corner, and quickly it's 0-2. Overton delivers again. This is a bouncing ball to Eisert over at third, and maybe the new position gets to him a little bit as that one goes off his glove and into left field, and that's going to be an error.
Yeah, tough play there over at third by Eisert. A hard-hit ground ball to start the inning off, but not much you can do there except focus on the next batter here.
Almost sort of looked like he let that one play him as opposed to charging it and cutting it off before it bounced again, but If you're the Tom Sox, you just have to shake that one off. You've got a 4-run lead, and here's Jackson Ross to the plate. As that one is upstairs for a ball.
Yeah, and Ross scored on the 2-run home run earlier in the game by Levinson, but other than that, he has a walk, a hit by pitch, and a flyout, so busy day.
First pitch is grounded to Eisert at third again. This time he tries for second. Safford gets it. The relay to first is just late. So they will get the out, and real fast runner in the form of Jackson Ross. But the Tom Sox defense did a good job to even make that a play.
Yeah, great job that time by Eisert. You know, they say in baseball you got to have a short-term memory, so making the error there in the previous batter and this time plays the ball well, makes a great throw over to second to get the first out and advance the lead and get out, the lead runner. And
that'll bring up Levinson with a runner on first, and as mentioned, he's got all 3 RBIs today for Waynesboro, but Tom Sox with a 4-run lead. And even if he gets another home run, it's still a multi-run lead, and he fouls that one back between the legs of the catcher Ebel, and it's 0-1.
Yeah, if you're Overton here, you just got to thank your batters here that they've been able to give you this huge lead, as you would not want to face Levinson if this was a 1- or 2-run game here with the guy on.
The look over to first from Overton. The kick, the delivery, and that one is hit solidly into right field. It's curving, but it's going to stay inside the foul line and one-hop the wall. Jackson Ross trots into third. That's where he'll stop, and it's a double for Zach Levinson, whose great day at the plate continues.
Yeah, wow, first pitch swing in there. He knows that today's his day. Maybe something about the 4th of July he's celebrating. But great job there to lace that one over there to left field, and that'll drop in. And now they have 2 men in scoring position for Alejandro Figueiredo.
Figueiredo grounded out in the first, flied out in the fourth, and struck out looking in the fifth before a foul out to the catcher in the 7th inning. So as they say, he is due with 2 runners in scoring position and 1 away. Overton fires. That one is hit solidly center field. However, Jack Hurley is in perfect position. He makes the grab. They're going to send Jackson Ross to the plate. The throw is nowhere close, so Waynesboro gets a run home. The runner on second, Levinson, stays put. 7-4 our new score, but now the Tom Sox just 1 out away.
Yeah, that's what's nice if you're the Sox here with a 4-run lead is you can trade a run for an out here. Now they got 2 gone. They still have a man on first, but a lot better situation now. Still ahead 3 with 2 gone here.
So credit Figueiredo with an RBI. That's his 2nd RBI in as many appearances here at Crutchfield Park this weekend, as now time called and John Maley out for what I think will be a quick chat, although the Tom Sox do have a pitcher in the bullpen. I wonder if this might be a pitch count thing or a strategy discussion. It remains to be seen. It's a lefty-on-lefty matchup with Cena at the plate.
Yeah, and Cena hasn't had a fantastic day. Got a hit back in the 2nd inning, but other than that, only 1 for 4, so you know exactly who you kind of want here. Got a lefty-lefty matchup, which, as I mentioned before, I think is the most difficult matchup if you're at the plate. And Overton has gone pretty deep into this game, pitched, after Worley pitched a good 5 innings, Overton has come in and gotten 3.2 innings of relief so far. Has done a pretty great job and looking to just get the final out here and send the Sox home with their first 4th of July win.
Overton stays in the game. Cena to the plate now, lefty-on-lefty matchup, 7-4. 2 away, runner on second in the 9th. And a check swing on a ball in the dirt, and Matthew Pierman says yes, he did, 0-1.
And as I said, when we appeal down to the base umpire, it's a lot more difficult to get the call, so this time the home plate umpire does it for Overton there and makes the job a little bit easier.
I think that one was fairly obvious. Even Cena knew he went around on that one on a pitch in the dirt, and 0-1 now. Overton comes set. Off-speed pitch, right in there for a strike, 0-2.
Yeah, great pitch there by Overton, but I'm interested. He checked the runner back at second a couple of times, considering that run basically means nothing. Doing a good job of holding him back, but, what's the need?
So 0-2, 2 away, 7-4 Tom Sox win. They look for their first Independence Day win. Overton takes a breath. Now he rocks and fires, and that one bounces in the dirt. Ball 1.
The fans here at Crutchfield Park enjoying a nice early game of 5 o'clock start as opposed to the normal 7 o'clock. So, fans can come, and as they have, I think I'm officially saying it. I don't have any numbers to back this up, but in my opinion, this is the most crowded game here. And hopefully the Tom Sox are 1 out away from sending them home happy.
A lot of people off work tomorrow, too, as the so-called bank holiday is observed on the Monday following a Sunday holiday. As 1-2 now our count. Overton comes set again. From the belt, the delivery, and that one, same spot, misses outside and low.
Yeah, and luckily for Overton, you have a base open, so, not too much pressure here, and you still have the 4-run lead to work with, but you don't want to put anything, up to the odds here. You want to get this guy out as quickly as possible and get out of here with a win.
The 2-2 from the stretch. Overton against Cena. The kick, the delivery, swing and a miss, strike 3, and you can put a pair of red, white, and blue socks on this one as Charlottesville, for the first time in franchise history, takes home a win on July 4th, and it comes by a score of 7-4 over the Waynesboro Generals.
Yeah, great job here by the Tom Sox. As we mentioned in the opening, when they win, they score a lot of runs. The exact average was 7.1, and they're keeping right on track with that, winning the 7-4 here today. As we mentioned, we're 0-6 against the Generals until Friday night's game, so great job today, ending the 4th of July losing streak.
Tom Sox shaking hands at the mound. The managers are shaking hands at the plate. And that's the whole bowl of fruit here from Crutchfield Park as Charlottesville went ahead 2-0 in the third, added a run in the fourth to make it 3-0. Zach Levinson got that big home run and made the game interesting. But from there, the Tom Sox offense kept their foot on the gas, and it was enough to hold off as Waynesboro put a couple of runs on late.
Yeah, great job by the Tom Sox hitting lineup. They were held scoreless in the first 2, but then scoring in 4 straight innings, which is really impressive. As we mentioned time and time again, they like to score in pairs, so they did a great job of doing that today here at the Crutch.
Tom Sox win 7-4 on 7-4, or better known as Independence Day. Tom Sox will be back at Crutchfield Park on Wednesday against the Harrisonburg Turks. And until then, we will talk to you then, and hope everyone has a good rest of their Independence Day and a good start to their week. For Dylan Castaigne, my name is Luke Ned Carney. Tom Sox win 7-4. Have a great night, everyone.